Hello everyone, I'm Amy. Today I'm bringing you a comprehensive guide to One Piece. I've been following this anime for many years and have recommended it to many people around me. However, many have expressed concern about its length, saying it would take too long to catch up. That's why I decided to create this video, to explain the entire One Piece story up to now, making it easier for those who want to start following the series from scratch. This video took nearly half a year to complete. If you enjoy it, please share it with others. And if you don't, well, feel free to tell others that my videos are terrible and not worth watching. Now let's set our compass and begin our main story. The death of Gol D. Roger ushered in the Great Pirate Era. People rushed to the seas in search of Roger's greatest treasure mentioned before his death, the One Piece. Our protagonist, Monkey D. Luffy, lives in the East Blue. During his childhood, he encountered a pirate named Red-Haired Shanks. Shanks had found a devil fruit, a mysterious fruit that would rob its eater of the ability to swim, but grant them extraordinary powers in return. Luffy accidentally ate this devil fruit, which turned him into a rubber man who could stretch, expand, and enlarge any part of his body, though he could no longer swim. When Luffy nearly drowned and was attacked by a sea monster, Shanks sacrificed his arm to save him. Before departing, Shanks gave Luffy his straw hat. Little Luffy grew up carrying Shanks's promise and set sail to find adventure companions. At sea, he met the cowardly Kobe, who dreamed of becoming a marine, and was forcibly kidnapped by the plump female pirate Alvida. Luffy single-handedly defeated Alvida's crew and continued his journey with Kobe to find companions. In search of the pirate hunter Roronoa Zoro, they arrived at a marine-controlled island. They discovered Zoro had been imprisoned by the Marines, and the real villains weren't pirates but the Marines themselves. When Zoro was about to be executed, Luffy saved him by using his body to block bullets. Zoro finally agreed to join Luffy's crew as a three-sword-style swordsman. Together, they defeated Marine Captain Morgan, liberating the townspeople and the righteous Marines. Kobe decided to stay and pursue his dream of becoming a Marine. Continuing their journey, Luffy and Zoro met Nami. Learning of her navigation skills, Luffy eagerly invited her to join his crew as the navigator. However, Nami, who despised pirates, initially refused. They then encountered Buggy the Clown, a former apprentice pirate alongside Shanks. Buggy harbored a grudge against Shanks for accidentally causing him to swallow a devil fruit. He also despised Luffy for wearing a straw hat similar to Shanks. Buggy, with his ability to split his body into pieces, fought against Luffy's crew but was ultimately defeated through Luffy and Nami's cooperation. During this conflict, Nami witnessed Luffy and Zoro's concern for villagers and their sense of justice, which changed her perspective on them, leading her to agree to become their navigator. Their next encounter was with Usopp, a notorious liar who resembled his father, Yasopp, one of Shanks' crew members. Luffy immediately recognized this connection. Usopp took them to meet his wealthy friend, Kaya, hoping to acquire a ship, but they were driven away by her butler, Klahadore. However, Klahadore was actually a pirate, plotting to steal Kaya's fortune. When Usopp discovered this, he tried to warn the villagers, but due to his reputation for lying, no one believed him. Left with no choice, he stood alone to defend against the pirates, until Luffy, moved by his courage, joined the fight. The pirates were led by Klahadore, who was actually Captain Kuro. While Usopp protected Kaya from the hypnotist Django, who was defeated by Zoro and Usopp's teamwork, Luffy confronted Captain Kuro. Enraged by Kuro's willingness to kill his own crew members to keep his secret, Luffy, who valued companionship, ultimately defeated him. As thanks for their help, Kaya gifted them the Going Merry. Usopp, inspired to become a brave warrior of the sea like his father, joined Luffy's crew. As their adventure continued, Zoro recalled his past. As a child, he trained at a dojo run by Queena's father. Despite his rapid progress, he could never defeat Quina. The two made a promise that one of them would become the world's greatest swordsman. Tragically, Quina died in an accident shortly after. A heartbroken Zoro asked her father for Quina's sword, vowing to become the world's greatest swordsman and fulfill their shared dream. Soon after, they arrived at the Berity, a floating restaurant run by former pirate Red Leg Zeph. There, they met Sanji, a chef who lived by the conviction that no hungry person should be turned away. Luffy, impressed by his character, invited him to join as the crew's cook, but Sanji firmly declined. When the pirate Don Krieg and his subordinate Gin arrived, Sanji fed them, only to be violently repaid for his kindness. Krieg then declared his intention to seize the restaurant, prompting the chefs to take up arms with their cooking utensils. As tensions mounted, Dracule Hawkeye's Mihawk, one of the 7 warlords and the world's greatest swordsman, appeared. This was the very man Zoro had been seeking. However, Mihawk easily countered Zoro's strongest techniques. Impressed by Zoro's determination, Mihawk chose to spare his life, waiting for him to grow stronger before their next duel. Zoro, in tears, swore to his captain that he would become the world's greatest swordsman to help Luffy become the Pirate King. The battle between the chefs and Krieg's pirates began in earnest. Sanji demonstrated his powerful kicking techniques while defending the restaurant. When Krieg released poison gas, threatening everyone including his own crew, Luffy was enraged by this betrayal of companions. Despite Krieg's powerful weapons and armor, Luffy defeated him barehanded. Moved by Luffy's resolve, Sanji still hesitated to leave. Zeph, seeing Sanji's excitement when discussing the All Blue, used reverse psychology to push him away. Sanji, understanding Zeph's intentions, gracefully accepted and departed after expressing his gratitude to his mentor and fellow chefs. The crew set sail again, but in small boats as Nami had taken the going merry during the chaos. They tracked her to her hometown, Kokoyashi Village, where they discovered her apparent alliance with the fearsome Arlong pirates. Zoro, who had already figured out the truth, deliberately jumped into the water when captured, prompting Nami to reveal her true nature by saving him. When Usopp was later captured, Nami staged his death, actually wounding herself instead of killing him. Through Nami's sister Nojiko, they learned of their past with Belle Mare, a former Marine who adopted them after being inspired to live by their presence. Despite poverty, Belle Mare always ensured her daughters ate well, often sustaining herself on just oranges from their grove. Their happy but humble life was shattered by Arlong's arrival. When Belle Mare couldn't pay Arlong's tribute, she was killed. Arlong, recognizing Nami's cartography skills, forced her to work for him. Nami struck a deal to buy back her village for 100 million berries, spending years stealing from pirates to raise the money. Just as she neared her goal, corrupt Marines in league with Arlong seized her savings as stolen goods. Seeing her dream crumble, Nami tearfully asked Luffy for help. In a powerful gesture, Luffy placed his precious straw hat in her care before leading the crew to confront Arlong. The battles were fierce. Zoro, still wounded from his duel with Mihawk, defeated the 6-sword-wielding Hachen. Sanji overcame the fishman karate master Kurubi, and even Usopp cleverly defeated a fishman officer. However, Arlong proved too strong for both Sanji and Zoro. The final battle fell to Luffy. After seeing Nami's blood-stained maps and understanding her suffering, Luffy's fury exploded. He defeated Arlong and destroyed Arlong Park, liberating Nami and Kokoyashi Village. Nami finally joined the crew properly, blessed by her villagers' support. However, this victory came with a price. Luffy's first bounty of 30 million berries for opposing Marine Captain Nezumi, who was in league with Arlong. Their friends and families, seeing the bounty poster, secretly celebrated their achievements. To search for the One Piece, the crew needed to enter the Grand Line via Logtown, the town of beginnings and endings, where the Pirate King both began his journey and met his end. Upon arrival, the crew split up to gather supplies and equipment. Zoro encountered Marine Sergeant Major Tashigi, who bore an uncanny resemblance to his friend Kuina. Through this encounter, he discovered the cursed sword, Sandai Katetsu. When the shopkeeper nearly deceived Zoro, he offered his finest sword, Yubashiri, as an apology. Meanwhile, Usopp met Daddy Masterson, a former Marine sniper who once faced his father Yasopp. Following encouragement similar to what Yasopp once gave Daddy, Usopp's sniping talents awakened as he successfully shot a distant weather vane. Luffy, wanting to experience the Pirate King's final moments, climbed the execution platform. There he encountered Alvida, who had eaten the slip-slip fruit, and Buggy the Clown. As Buggy prepared to execute him, Luffy displayed the same smile Roger had shown before his death. As if by divine intervention, a lightning bolt struck the platform, saving Luffy. Marine Captain Smoker, a powerful smoke fruit user, had surrounded the area, and even Luffy couldn't defeat him. However, a mysterious figure named Dragon, created a windstorm that allowed their escape from Longtime. Before entering the Grand Line, the crew passionately declared their dreams amidst a storm, ready to face greater challenges. At the Grand Line's entrance, they encountered a giant whale that swallowed them whole. Inside, they met Crocus, the whale's caretaker, who explained that Laboon had been waiting 50 years for a pirate crew that promised to return. The whale's self-inflicted injuries came from repeatedly ramming the Red Line in search of his friends. Luffy, moved by this, fought Laboon to a draw and made a new promise to return and settle their match, giving the whale hope once again. At Whiskey Peak, they received an elaborate welcome and participated in a grand feast. However, this was a trap set by Baroque Works, bounty hunters targeting Luffy's 30 million berry bounty. Zoro, having seen through the deception, single-handedly defeated 100 enemies. The situation complicated when internal conflict arose within Baroque Works. Mr. Five and Miss Valentine arrived, targeting Miss Wednesday, revealed to be Princess Vivi of Arabasta, and her royal guard captain. These agents, whose strength increased as their number decreased, possessed formidable abilities. Mr. Five could make his body explode, while Miss Valentine controlled gravity through her float fruit. When Vivi sought help in her desperate escape, Luffy and Zoro easily defeated the agents. She then revealed that Arabasta was in civil unrest, orchestrated by Baroque Works leader, Mr. Zero Dash, actually Crocodile, one of the 7 warlords. This knowledge made the crew targets, forcing them to escort Vivi toward Arabasta. Their journey led them to Little Garden, an island neither small nor garden-like, populated by prehistoric creatures including dinosaurs. There they met 2 giant warriors from Elbaf village, Dory and Brogy, who had been dueling for 100 years, forgetting even their original reason. Despite their fearsome appearance, they warmly welcomed the crew. However, when Dory drank some of Luffy's gifted sake, it exploded inside him. Though gravely injured, he continued his duel with Brogy and lost. As Brogy celebrated his century-long victory, Mr. 3 of Baroque Works trapped him. The organization had targeted the giant's bounties all along. Mr. 3, a wax fruit user, captured Zoro and others, slowly turning them to wax. Even as Zoro contemplated cutting off his own feet to escape, Luffy arrived. The situation remained dire until Usopp devised a fire-based strategy to save everyone. After defeating their enemies, Dory and Brogy finally reconciled, ending their century-old dispute. As Luffy's crew continued toward Arabasta, they encountered Wapol, who claimed to be the former king of Drum Kingdom. A devil fruit user who nearly devoured the Going Merry, he was swiftly punched away by Luffy. However, their troubles weren't over. Nami suddenly developed a severe fever. They urgently docked at a nearby winter island seeking medical help. The island had only one doctor, Kureha, known as the Witch, who lived in a castle atop the mountain. Luffy and Sanji carried Nami up the treacherous, snow-covered mountain. En route, they were confronted by Wapol, the island's despised former king who had fled when the Blackbeard pirates arrived and now sought revenge. Unable to fight while carrying Nami, Luffy fled. The giant snow rabbits, Lapons, whom Luffy had helped earlier, came to their aid against Wapol. Luffy seized this opportunity to continue climbing, carrying both the unconscious Sanji and feverish Nami. Despite severe injuries, he managed to reach the castle before collapsing. There, they met Dr. Kureha and her talking reindeer assistant, Chopper. While treating everyone's injuries, Luffy immediately wanted Chopper to join his crew. They learned of Chopper's past. After eating the human fruit, he was rejected by both reindeer and humans, wandering alone until Dr. Hiluluk took him in. Though Hiluluk was a quack doctor, his goal wasn't to cure individuals, but to heal the kingdom itself. He often told Chopper that only a pirate flag bearing pink cherry blossoms could save their nation, constantly researching a way to turn snow pink. Chopper lived happily with Hiluluk until the doctor fell terminally ill. In an attempt to save him, Chopper gathered what he thought was a miracle cure, the Amutake mushroom, which was actually poisonous. After Hiluluk's death, he entrusted Chopper to Dr. Kureha, who taught him real medicine. When Wapol returned to destroy Hiluluk's pirate flag, Luffy desperately protected it, moving Chopper deeply. Together they fought Wapol, with Chopper's 7 transformation points making Luffy even more eager to recruit him. After Luffy defeated Wapol, he again invited Chopper to be the crew's doctor. After much consideration, Chopper accepted. Dr. Kureha bid him farewell by firing Hiluluk's research into the sky, creating a spectacle of pink cherry blossom-like snow, a symbol of the kingdom's rebirth. Continuing toward Arabasta, they encountered Mr. Tubon Clay, whose powers allowed him to mimic anyone he touched. Upon realizing he was an enemy, the crew created identifying marks to prevent deception from his abilities. Finally reaching Arabasta, once an oasis nation now suffering a 3-year drought, they headed for Yuba, where Vivi hoped to negotiate with the rebel leader. They were pursued by Marine Captain Smoker, but were saved by Portgas D. Ace, Luffy's brother and the 2nd Division commander of the Whitebeard Pirates. A fire fruit user, Ace fought Smoker to a standstill. They learned Ace was pursuing his former crewmate Blackbeard and had stopped to check on his younger brother, leaving Luffy with his Vivre card before departing. Upon reaching Yuba, they found it deserted except for Todo, Vivi's old acquaintance, who revealed the truth. The rebel leader Koza was Vivi's childhood friend. 11 years ago, the king had sent them to develop Yuba as a new oasis city, and they hadn't met since. After years without rain and perceived neglect from the kingdom, the rebels had risen up and relocated. While the others wanted to pursue the rebels, Luffy refused, identifying Crocodile as the true culprit. The crew unanimously decided to head to Rain Base, Crocodile's stronghold. At Rain Base, they encountered Marine Captain Smoker. During the chaotic pursuit, they rushed into Crocodile's casino, Rain Dinners, only to fall into a trap along with Smoker. Crocodile appeared, arrogantly revealing his scheme, kidnapping the king while Mr. 2 impersonated him to incite rebellion. He released a giant banana crocodile to torture them. But Sanji and Chopper's diversionary tactics lured Crocodile away. Sanji accidentally rescued Mr. 3, who had been sentenced to death for his failure at Little Garden, and forced him to use his wax powers to free the others. After escaping, they rushed to the capital Alubarna to stop the rebellion, but Crocodile intercepted them. Luffy stayed behind to fight him, but was overwhelmed and nearly killed, saved only by Miss All Sunday. Meanwhile, Vivi failed to stop the rebel army, and the battle began. The Straw Hats engaged Baroque Works in decisive battles. Usopp and Chopper faced Mr. 4 and Miss Merry Christmas, who wielded a 4-ton bat and possessed Mouse fruit powers. Though outmatched, Usopp's rage at their mockery of Luffy led to a clever victory. Sanji struggled against Mr. 2's impersonations of Nami until he discovered a weakness in the copying ability. Nami defeated Miss Doublefinger's Spike fruit powers using her climate baton, while Zoro learned to cut steel in his battle with Mr. 1. Crocodile revealed his true objective at the Royal Palace, Alabasta's ancient weapon Pluton, just as Koza arrived. Upon learning the truth, Koza attempted to stop the war, but was wounded by infiltrators, reigniting the conflict. A hidden bomb threatened everyone in the square until Pell sacrificed himself to save them. Meanwhile, Miss All Sunday, revealed to be Nico Robin, the infamous scholar from 20 years ago, took the king to the royal tomb. Able to read the ancient text about Pluton, she deceived Crocodile and was seemingly killed for it. Luffy arrived for a final battle, now stronger and enraged, finally defeating Crocodile. A long-awaited rain fell, ending the war and the nation's crisis. The world government credited the Marines for the resolution, concealing the Straw Hats' role while raising Luffy's bounty to 100 million berries. The crew escaped thanks to Mr. 2's help, bidding farewell to Vivi, who chose to remain with her people. They departed with an unexpected addition, Nico Robin, who, having been saved by Luffy despite her death wish, joined as their new companion. Their adventure took an unexpected turn when a massive ship fell from the sky and their log pose pointed upward. Robin mentioned the possibility of Skypiea, the legendary Sky Island, leading them to nearby Jaya Island for information. Arriving at Mocktown on Jaya Island, the crew's inquiries about Sky Island were met with widespread ridicule and laughter. The pirate Bellamy particularly antagonized them, attacking Luffy, who refused to fight back due to his promise to Nami. Only one person, Blackbeard, affirmed their beliefs in Sky Island's existence. Through Robin's investigation, they learned of Mont Blanc Cricket, descendant of Mont Blanc Noland, who, 400 years ago, was labeled a liar and executed for claiming to discover a city of gold that mysteriously vanished before the king could verify it. Cricket's family, believing in Noland's honesty, had never stopped searching for proof, with Cricket himself dedicating his life to both finding the gold and helping others reach Sky Island. While the crew searched for Southbirds necessary for navigation, Bellamy's crew attacked Cricket and severely damaged the Going Merry. This finally pushed Luffy past his patience, leading him to decisively defeat Bellamy and recover Cricket's gold. After Cricket and his allies modified their ship for the perilous journey skyward, the crew used the knock-up stream, a powerful vertical ocean current, to launch themselves into the sky. Upon reaching Sky Island, they were immediately attacked by unfamiliar warriors. The crew, still adjusting to the thin air, found themselves easily defeated until the Sky Knight Ganfall intervened to save them. On Sky Island, they encountered Conus and her father, angel-like beings who initially welcomed them warmly. Their illegal entry, however, brought the White Berets, Skypia's law enforcement, to arrest them. Luffy's resistance elevated their crimes to a level risking divine punishment. As they prepared to leave to protect their hosts, half the crew, Nami, Robin, Zoro, and Chopper, were suddenly abducted to God's Island by giant speedy shrimp. Pursuing them to the sacrificial altar, Luffy's group discovered Conus's betrayal. She had been forced to aid in their capture under threat of divine punishment. Upon confessing, she was struck by lightning but saved by Ganfall, revealed to be Skypia's former god, who had ruled until 6 years prior. The remaining crew faced their first trial against Satori, a spherical priest in the Ordeal of Balls. Despite his formidable mantra ability allowing him to predict their movements, making both Luffy's and Sanji's attacks initially futile, they eventually prevailed through clever teamwork and strategy. Meanwhile, the separated group made a shocking discovery. God's Island was actually part of Jaya, the very island they'd left behind, raised centuries ago by the powerful ocean current. While guarding the ship alone, Chopper confronted the fearsome priest Ohm, leading to a desperate battle where both he and the intervening Ganfall nearly perished in shark-infested clouds before a giant Southbird rescued them. When the crew finally reunited, they shared their discoveries, with Nami piecing together the location of the City of Gold from Nolan's log. Ganfall revealed Skypia's complex history, a 400-year conflict between Scypians and the native Shandians over the displaced land, culminating in Enel's violent overthrow of the previous regime 6 years earlier. He also introduced them to Skypia's unique dial technology, particularly the impact dials, equipping them with knowledge crucial for the coming battles. This information proved vital as Enel, the current god, announced his survival game, setting the stage for the conflicts to come. Enel's survival game unfolded across multiple battlegrounds. The first major clash involved Ohm of the Ordeal of String, who immobilized attacking Shandians with his wire techniques until their leader Wiper overcame him using a reject dial, 10 times stronger than a regular impact dial. Meanwhile, Chopper, determined to prove himself as a true pirate, faced and defeated the priest of the Ordeal of Swamp in a solo battle that tested his resolve. Robin encountered and swiftly defeated Yama, the divine squad leader, her anger sparked by his callous destruction of historical ruins. This victory led her to a momentous discovery, the legendary Golden City of Shandora, and more importantly for her, ancient text containing historical records she'd long sought. Zoro completed the sequence of priest battles by defeating Ohm, the final priest, using his newly developed technique, 3-sword style, 108-pound Phoenix. The survival game's final phase brought 5 survivors before Enel: Zoro, Nami, Ganfall, Robin, and Wiper. Enel easily overcame Ganfall before revealing his grand scheme, to destroy Skypia and establish a new nation in what he called the Endless Earth, inviting the survivors to join him. When Robin and Zoro immediately refused, he struck them down effortlessly. Though Wiper momentarily gained the upper hand using Sea Stone to nullify Enel's powers, Enel quickly recovered and defeated him. Luffy arrived just as Enel boarded his great ship, the Arc Maxime, preparing to depart for his promised land. The final battle proved uniquely suited to Luffy, whose rubber body naturally countered Enel's lightning powers. However, Enel cleverly fused gold to Luffy's arm with lightning, weighing him down and temporarily halting his pursuit. Driven by his promise to Cricket, to prove the existence of the City of Gold, Luffy remained determined to ring the golden bell. When he could no longer climb alone, Nami devised a brilliant strategy, rallying the Straw Hat crew to fell a giant vine, creating a path upward. Wiper joined their effort upon learning that his ancestor, the warrior Kalgara, had been Nolan's close friend who had also tried to guide him by ringing the golden bell. The climactic confrontation saw Luffy pursuing Enel as the self-proclaimed god prepared to unleash Raygo, a massive lightning attack to destroy all of Scipia. In a display of quick thinking, Luffy used the gold fused to his arm as a conductor to disable Enel's most powerful technique, protecting the island and its inhabitants. His final attack not only defeated Enel, but also succeeded in ringing the massive golden bell that had stood silent for 400 years. Its sound carried all the way down to Cricket on the surface, finally vindicating his family's honor and marking the end of the centuries-old conflict in Skypiea. In the aftermath, after allowing themselves time to rest and recover, the Straw Hat crew collected a portion of gold from the ruins, their reward for saving the Sky Island. They bid farewell to their new friends and made their way back to the blue sea below, having added another extraordinary chapter to their growing legend. The sound of the golden bell continued to echo in their hearts, a reminder of the adventure that proved that dreams, no matter how impossible they might seem, could indeed come true. The crew's next encounter came on a deserted island where they met Marine Admiral Aokiji. Despite his lazy demeanor, his power was formidable, instantly freezing the ocean solid. He intended to capture Robin, who had carried a 79 million berry bounty since age 7. Though the crew desperately defended her, they proved no match for Aokiji, who froze both Robin and Luffy. However, remembering how Luffy had helped his subordinate Smoker in Arabasta, Aokiji ultimately spared their lives, allowing the Straw Hats to escape this crisis. Their journey continued until they nearly collided with a sea train, leading them to a station where they met the station master Kokoro and a little girl named Chimney. Kokoro directed them to Water 7, where a man named Iceberg could repair their badly damaged Going Merry. Upon reaching Water 7, they exchanged their Sky Island gold for 300 million berries and sought out Iceberg, the mayor and head of the Galley Law Company. After inspection, the foreman Kaku delivered devastating news. The Going Merry's keel was beyond repair, necessitating a new ship. As Luffy and Nami struggled with this news, 200 million of their berries vanished, stolen by the Frankie family. When the crew confronted the Frankie family, they found Usopp beaten badly over the money. Enraged, they destroyed the Frankie house but failed to recover their funds. After rescuing Usopp, tensions escalated when he learned about the decision to replace the Merry. A heated argument with Luffy led to Usopp challenging him for the ship, transforming closest friends into adversaries. After their duel, the crew left the ship with Usopp and departed. Meanwhile, Robin had been missing for a day, and concerns grew. Shocking news revealed that Robin had attacked Mayor Iceberg at night, leading to the crew's citywide manhunt. When Chopper and Sanji found Robin, she declared her departure from the crew, severing all ties. The crew, disbelieving, determined to protect Iceberg and confront Robin during her expected night attack. That night, Robin and CP9, the government's spy organization, attacked Iceberg seeking his blueprints. Though Iceberg had his subordinate Polly move the plans, CP9 intercepted them, only to discover they were decoys. CP9 revealed their true identities as shipwrights and secretaries, explaining their mission to obtain the ancient weapon Pluton's blueprints left by Iceberg's master Tom. They needed Robin to decode ancient text about the weapons. Using lie detection, they learned Frankie held the real blueprints. Luffy arrived for a fierce battle but was easily defeated by Rob Lucci, a CP9 agent with Cat fruit powers. The story then shifted to Frankie's past. 22 years ago, he studied shipbuilding under Tom, who faced execution for building the Pirate King's ship. Tom received time to complete the Sea Train project, and after 14 years nearly earned acquittal for his contributions to Water 7. However, government official Spandam, seeking Pluton's blueprints, framed Tom using Frankie's ships to attack judicial ships. Tom sacrificed himself to protect his apprentices, passing the blueprints to Iceberg, who gave them to Frankie. Unable to obtain the blueprints, CP9 captured Frankie and Usopp, taking them aboard the Sea Train. Iceberg revealed to Nami that Robin had cooperated to protect the crew from the Buster Call, a devastating attack involving 5 vice admirals and 10 battleships. Sanji, having anticipated this, had already infiltrated the train. Disguised as Soji King, Usopp joined Sanji in fighting through enemies to reach CP9 and Robin, who still refused to return. After CP9 easily defeated them, Robin and Frankie were taken to Eni's lobby. Luffy's group, accompanied by the Frankie family, pursued them on the prototype sea train Rocket Man. While Luffy rushed ahead to reach Robin at the courthouse, the rest of the crew faced 10,000 soldiers, a number that, despite its magnitude, proved insufficient against their strength. Luffy first encountered CP9's Blueno, a door-door fruit user skilled in the Six Powers technique. However, Luffy had grown stronger, surpassing his opponent in both speed and power. Tired of Blueno's defensive tactics, Luffy unveiled his new technique, Gear Second, which dramatically enhanced his abilities, leading to Blueno's swift defeat. When the rest of the Straw Hats arrived and finally reached Robin, Luffy understood her self-sacrifice was to protect them. In response, he ordered Soja King to burn the world government's flag, officially declaring their opposition and eliminating Robin's need for sacrifice. This moment triggered Robin's memories of Ohara, her homeland where scholars could decode historical texts. The government, fearing the revelation of the Void Century's history, had destroyed the island with a buster call, with Robin escaping only through Aokiji's help. Her giant friend's parting words, that she would one day find true companions, had finally come true. Moved by her crew's actions, Robin finally expressed her desire to live and journey with them. Frankie, equally touched, burned Pluton's blueprints he had concealed. As the crew stormed the courthouse, Spandam fled toward the gates of justice with Robin under Rob Lucci's protection, leaving the remaining CP9 members to engage the crew. Each held a key, one of which would free Robin from her sea stone handcuffs. The rescue operation began with individual battles. Sanji initially faced Khalifa, but, bound by his chivalrous code, couldn't fight her. Nami took over, overcoming Khalifa's bubble fruit powers by exploiting their weakness to water and defeating her with Thunderlance tempo. Frankie, powered by Cola thanks to Chopper's help, defeated Fukuro with his fresh fire technique. Chopper, forced to consume 3 rumble balls against Kumadori, transformed into an uncontrollable monster that won the battle but threatened allies until Frankie and Nami subdued him. Sanji recovered to defeat the Wolf fruit user Jabra despite his Iron Body technique, using his new Diablo Jambi kick. Zoro overcame Kaku's 4-sword style and giraffe powers with his new Asura technique. Meanwhile, Luffy, aided by Chimney, pursued Robin. When Spandam accidentally activated the Buster Call, chaos ensued. At the Bridge of Hesitation, Robin's will to live manifested as she resisted, while Spandam revealed his father Spandine's role in O'Hara's destruction. Soga King's precise shot from the Tower of Justice and Frankie's timely arrival saved Robin, who exacted revenge on Spandam with her Devil Fruit powers. As Buster Call warships began their indiscriminate bombardment, the crew fought over 200 Marine officers, including Vice Admirals. Luffy's intense battle with Lucci culminated in a decisive victory through his all-out Gum Gum Gatling. Their escape seemed impossible until the Going Merry's voice guided them. Iceberg had emergency repaired the ship for one final rescue. However, the Mary finally succumbed to its damage, leading to an emotional farewell ceremony where the ship spoke its final words to its beloved crew. Back in Water 7, Marine hero Vice Admiral Garp's visit revealed shocking truths. He was Luffy's grandfather, and the Revolutionary Army's leader, Dragon, was Luffy's father. During Luffy's reunion with a much-improved Kobe, he learned they were nearing the Grand Line's halfway point. The second half, known as the New World, housed powerful enemies including the 4 Emperors, news that excited Luffy immensely before Garp's departure. Using the stolen 200 million berries, Frankie purchased the precious Atom Wood to construct the Thousand Sunny, a magnificent vessel worthy of the Straw Hat Pirates' adventures. Upon Luffy's invitation, Frankie joined as the crew's shipwright, bringing his engineering expertise to their journey. The crew's departure paused momentarily as Usopp, watching his companions prepare to leave, broke down in tears and sincerely apologized for his previous actions. The crew welcomed him back with open arms, restoring their bonds of friendship. As Marine hero Garp closed in under government pressure, Frankie unveiled the Sunny's coup de burst, allowing them to literally fly to safety. By this time, every crew member had earned a bounty, ranging from Luffy's impressive 300 million berries to Chopper's comically low 50 berries. A significant meeting occurred between 2 of the 4 emperors, red-haired Shanks and Whitebeard. Shanks attempted to dissuade Ace's pursuit of Blackbeard, warning of the latter's dangerous nature. Whitebeard, however, dismissed these concerns, maintaining his pride and trust in his commander's abilities. The warning proved prescient as Ace had already confronted Blackbeard, his former subordinate who had murdered a crewmate to steal the dark fruit. Despite his strength and position as Whitebeard's 2nd Division commander, Ace fell to Blackbeard's new powers. His capture provided Blackbeard the credentials needed to secure the position of Warlord of the Sea. The Straw Hats' journey led them into the Florian Triangle, perpetually shrouded in thick fog where normal navigation proved nearly impossible. Here they encountered Brook, a skeletal musician whose unique condition resulted from the Yomi Yomi fruit's power. After his crew's defeat in battle, his soul had taken a year to find his body, only to discover his shadow had been stolen. Without it, he could not survive in sunlight, facing certain destruction if exposed. Luffy, immediately taking to Brook's personality and musical talents, vowed to help recover his shadow. Their search brought them to Thriller Bark, where the cowardly trio of Nami, Chopper, and Usopp were chosen to investigate first. The island proved to be inhabited by numerous zombies, though initially easily defeated. They soon learned that Gecko Moria, one of the 7 warlords, was behind these creatures, using stolen shadows to animate corpses. His 3 commanders each led different zombie armies, creating a hierarchical system of undead warriors. The situation worsened when Sanji and Zoro vanished, only to be replaced by zombies bearing their exact personalities and fighting styles. Luffy himself was captured, his shadow forcibly extracted and installed in Moria's strongest zombie warrior, Oars. While the zombie horde seemed unkillable, Brook revealed their weakness to salt, which could purify them and return the shadows to their rightful owners. The crisis deepened when Absalom, wielding the clear fruit, kidnapped Nami using his invisibility powers. Retreating to the Sunny, the crew discovered their unconscious companions and learned the full truth about Brook. He was a member of the pirate crew that had promised to return to Laboon. His decades-long struggle to reclaim his shadow was driven by this unfulfilled promise, adding a poignant dimension to their mission. Determined to save Nami, recover their shadows, and help all of Thriller Bark's victims, they launched their counterattack against Moria's forces. The battles began with Perona, one of the 3 commanders who possessed the Hollow fruit. Her negative ghosts devastated the crew's morale, rendering them helpless with depression and self-doubt. However, Usopp's natural pessimism rendered him immune to her powers, turning his greatest weakness into an unexpected strength. Though his initial attacks proved ineffective against her exploding ghosts, Usopp eventually located her real body and achieved victory using psychological warfare with cockroach toys and hammer balloons, exploiting her own fears. Zoro's battle proved particularly significant as he faced the zombie Ryuma, who possessed not only Brook's shadow, but also the body of a legendary samurai from Wano. Their duel showcased the highest level of swordsmanship, with both warriors pushing their limits in an intense exchange of techniques. After a fierce battle, Zoro emerged victorious with his one-sword style, Flying Dragon Blaze technique. Recognizing Zoro's worthiness, Ryuma bequeathed his famous blade Shusui to him, before Brook's shadow returned to its rightful owner. Sanji's confrontation with Absalom carried deep personal significance, as he discovered his opponent possessed the clear fruit, the very power Sanji had long dreamed of obtaining. The devastating realization that his dream was forever unattainable, as no 2 identical devil fruits can coexist, fueled his fury in their battle. The situation intensified when Absalom attempted to force himself on Nami, only to be interrupted by the zombie Lola, who remembered Nami's kindness. Though Lola fell to Absalom's attacks, her intervention gave Nami the opportunity to unleash her full power with the Klimatact, defeating Absalom decisively. The confrontation with Dr. Hogback revealed one of Thriller Bark's most tragic stories. The once-renowned doctor had fallen from grace through his obsession with reviving the deceased actress Sindri. His collaboration with Moria allowed him to reanimate her corpse, but Chopper's passionate condemnation of this perversion of medical science caused Sindri's zombie body to reject Hogback's control. Without his zombie protectors, Hogback proved powerless, meeting his end beneath Oar's massive foot. Finally, they faced their greatest challenge in Oars, controlled by Moria from within its body. This combination proved devastating. Oars possessed not only overwhelming physical might, but also Luffy's combat instincts and rubber abilities. The Straw Hats found themselves completely outmatched in their initial confrontation, with even their combined efforts proving futile against this perfect fusion of Luffy's fighting style and Oars' raw power. Their decisive defeat highlighted the immense challenge they faced, forcing them to recognize the need for a new strategy against this seemingly invincible enemy. At this critical moment, Luffy encountered the real Lola and other victims whose shadows had been stolen, confined to wandering the forest. They revealed a crucial secret to Luffy. Stuffing multiple shadows into one body could temporarily grant enormous power. Taking this advice, they forced 100 shadows into Luffy's body, transforming him into Nightmare Luffy. After an intense battle that pushed him to his limits, Luffy managed to defeat his opponent before returning to his original form. However, their relief was short-lived as oars rose again, seemingly unstoppable. In this dire moment, the entire Straw Hat crew stood together, their combined strength finally proving enough to bring down the massive zombie. Yet the battle was far from over. Moria awoke and absorbed 1,000 shadows, seeking even greater power. Time was running out as dawn approached, threatening to destroy Luffy and the others whose shadows had been stolen. In a final desperate move, Luffy, despite his grave injuries, activated both Gear 2nd and Gear 3rd simultaneously. This ultimate gambit succeeded in defeating Moria, releasing all the stolen shadows which returned to their rightful owners. Just as victory seemed secured, another warlord, Bartholomew Kuma, arrived. The government, anticipating Moria's possible defeat, had sent him as backup. The exhausted Straw Hat crew had no strength left to face another warlord. In this desperate situation, Zoro made a noble bargain: his life in exchange for the crew's safety. Kuma accepted, but with a twist. He extracted all the pain and damage Luffy had accumulated during the battle and transferred it to Zoro, who had to endure it on top of his existing injuries. The fact that Zoro survived this overwhelming agony was nothing short of miraculous. After witnessing Zoro's sacrifice, Kuma departed, bringing the incident to a close. Following the intense battle, the crew celebrated their victory. Brook, moved by the opportunity to finally fulfill his promise to Laboon, accepted Luffy's invitation to become the crew's musician. Before their departure, Lola and Nami formed a strong bond of friendship forged in battle, lamenting they hadn't met sooner. Learning of their intention to enter the new world, Lola gave them her mother's Vivre card, revealing that her mother was a powerful pirate who might be able to help them in the future. With their new nakama aboard, the Straw Hat pirates set sail once again. They had finally completed their journey through the first half of the Grand Line and were ready to head toward Fishman Island, their gateway to the New World. Upon reaching the Red Line, the Straw Hats found themselves unable to proceed to Fishman Island. Fortune brought them to Kami, a genuine mermaid, and her mentor Papug, a starfish working at a takoyaki stand. Learning their employer Hachi had been captured, Luffy, tempted by the promise of delicious food, agreed to help. To their surprise, this Hachi was the same octopus fishman from Arlong's crew at Kokoyashi Village, but for Kami's sake, they set aside past grievances. The flying fish riders led by Duval proved no match for the Straw Hats. During this battle, Luffy showed his first signs of Conqueror's haki, frightening Duval's mount. Curiously, Duval's grudge focused solely on Sanji. His face matched Sanji's infamously inaccurate wanted poster, forcing him into hiding. Sanji resolved this by literally kicking Duval's face into a new, handsome shape, earning their eternal gratitude. Papug explained they needed their ship coded to reach Fishman Island, leading them to Sabayoti Archipelago to find Hachi's recommended mechanic. There, they encountered the world nobles, the celestial dragons. Despite their despicable behavior, Hachi warned against retaliation. These descendants of the 20 kings who formed the world government 800 years ago were untouchable, as attacking them would bring an admiral's wrath. At Shaki's bar, they learned about 11 supernovas, with bounties over 100 million berries gathered at Sabayoti, including Luffy and Zoro. The others were Capone Gang Bede, 138 million, Jewelry Bonnie, 140 million, Basil Hawkins, 249 million, Scratchman Apu, 198 million, Eustace Kid, 315 million, X Drake, 222 million, Uroj, 108 million, Killer, 162 million, and Trafalgar Law, 200 million, each potentially the next era's leader. Their search for Rayleigh at the amusement park turned disastrous when Cammy was kidnapped. Learning that merfolk commanded high prices, they rushed to the human auction house. Their attempt to buy her freedom with 200 million berries was thwarted when celestial dragon Charlos bid 500 million. When Hachi's fishman nature was exposed trying to stop Luffy, Charlos shot him, revealing the island's deep-seated discrimination against fishmen. This finally pushed Luffy to punch the world noble. In the ensuing chaos, a mysterious old man, revealed to be Rayleigh, the coding mechanic, helped free Cammy. As Marines surrounded the auction house, Luffy, Kid, and Law demonstrated their power by fighting their way out together. At Shacky's, Rayleigh revealed his identity as Gold Roger's former vice captain, sharing that Roger had discovered his terminal illness 4 years before his execution. After recruiting Crocus as ship doctor and gaining 3 more years to conquer the Grand Line, Roger disbanded his crew and surrendered himself. Both Shanks and Buggy had been apprentices on his ship. While Rayleigh began the 3-day coding process, the crew faced multiple challenges. They first encountered a mechanical version of Warlord Bartholomew Kuma, defeating it through their combined efforts. Dr. Sentamaru then arrived with another Kuma, revealing these pacifistas were weapons developed by Dr. Vegapunk using Kuma's body and Admiral Kizaru's laser technology. The situation deteriorated with Admiral Kizaru's arrival, who easily defeated several supernovas before targeting the Straw Hats. Though Rayleigh's intervention bought them time, the appearance of the real Kuma marked their defeat. One by one, he sent each crew member flying with his powers, leaving Luffy to watch helplessly as his companions vanished before he too was sent away, marking the first complete separation of the Straw Hat crew. The Straw Hat crew was scattered across the world. Nami landed on Witheria, a sky island specializing in meteorological research. Frankie reached Karakuri Island, the mechanical kingdom of geniuses. Chopper arrived in the Torino Kingdom, an island of birds. Sanji found himself in Momoiro Island, the Kamabaka Kingdom filled with Okamas. Robin was sent to Tequila Wolf, the Bridge Country. Usopp landed in the Boyne Archipelago's Greenstone Forest. Zoro reached Kuraigana Island, where he encountered Perona. Brook was transported to Namakura Island, a land of poverty. And Luffy landed on Amazon Lily, the island of women. Upon arrival, Luffy had accidentally eaten poisonous mushrooms, causing fungi to sprout all over his body. The island's inhabitants discovered him and helped remove the mushrooms, though one proved stubborn. Elder Nyan's arrival brought the shocking revelation that Luffy was a man, a sight unknown to the women of Amazon Lily. Treated like a curiosity, Luffy managed to escape their attention. Meanwhile, the island's empress and warlord, Boa Hancock, met with Vice Admiral Mamanga. The Marines were recruiting warlords to prevent any rescue attempts at Ace's upcoming execution, but Hancock flatly refused, using her love fruit powers to petrify the Marines before returning home. When Luffy accidentally stumbled upon her during her bath, he saw the mark on her back, a symbol the sisters would rather die than reveal. Hancock attempted to eliminate him using her devil fruit powers, but surprisingly, they had no effect on Luffy. As Luffy faced public execution, Marguerite and her friends, who had helped him earlier, pleaded for his life only to be turned to stone. Hancock's snake fruit-wielding sisters challenged Luffy, their hockey abilities allowing them to harm his rubber body and predict his movements. During this difficult battle, Luffy unconsciously unleashed Conqueror's Haki, stunning many spectators and revealing his rare potential. Using Gear Second, he cleverly turned their own flames against them, but when the fire threatened to expose Sandersonia's backmark, Luffy protected her, earning their trust. Hancock tested Luffy by forcing him to choose between finding his crew or saving the petrified women. His immediate choice to save Marguerite moved Hancock, and learning he had punched a celestial dragon further earned her trust. She revealed the meaning behind their marks: the hoof of the flying dragon, the slave brand of the celestial dragons. The 3 sisters had been enslaved as children until Fisher Tiger, scaling the red line to Mariajoie, freed the slaves. Unable to remove their brands, the freed slaves and fishmen formed the Sun Pirates, using their sun tattoo to hide the slave marks. Learning of Ace's imprisonment in Impel Down, Luffy sought Hancock's help to infiltrate the underwater prison, using her status as a warlord. Hidden within her clothes, Luffy secretly boarded the Marine ship. Upon reaching Impel Down, Hancock used her powers to temporarily petrify the guards and surveillance systems, allowing Luffy to begin his rescue mission undetected. Following Ace's Beaver card through the prison depths, Luffy encountered Buggy attempting his own escape. Forming an unlikely alliance, they reached level 2, where they met Mr. 3. Pursued by the human-faced lion Sphinx, they plummeted to level 3's starvation hell, narrowly escaping Chief Warden Saldeeth's trap during the chaos of the Sphinx's rampage. Their group expanded when they met Mr. 2 Bon Clay, who sought the Okama King Ivankov, and together they overcame the fierce jailer beasts to reach level 4's burning hell. There, they faced their most formidable opponent yet, Prison Warden Magellan, wielder of the poison fruit. His entire body exuded deadly toxins, making even the slightest touch lethal. Despite his determination, Luffy was overwhelmed by Magellan's poisonous abilities and cast into level 5's freezing hell. Bon Clay, showing his unwavering loyalty, pursued Luffy but collapsed from exhaustion while fighting the Wolf Guards. A mysterious figure rescued them, and Bon Clay awoke in what appeared to be paradise, finally meeting his idol, the Okama King Emporio Ivankov. Ivankov attempted to treat Luffy's severe poisoning through his healing hormones, a desperate procedure that would cost Luffy 10 years of his life with only a 2% chance of survival. Throughout the grueling treatment, Bon Clay continuously cheered for Luffy, refusing to rest or give up hope. Luffy's incredible will to live seemed to respond to these encouragements, and he miraculously survived. Though Ivankov initially opposed Luffy's continued rescue attempt, upon learning that Luffy was Dragon's son, the Okama King, being a Revolutionary Army commander himself, pledged his support to prevent his comrade's son from dying. Racing to level 6, they arrived too late. Ace had already been transferred. Adapting their plan, they recruited former warlords Crocodile and Jinbei to strengthen their escape force, fighting their way back to level 4, while freeing other prisoners to create chaos. There, they faced the determined Vice Warden Hannibal and, unexpectedly, Blackbeard, who cruelly taunted Luffy about Ace's capture being a result of protecting his younger brother. Their heated confrontation was interrupted by Magellan, who demonstrated his overwhelming power by easily defeating Blackbeard's entire crew with his Hydra technique. Luffy and Mr. 3 worked together effectively against Magellan until his ultimate technique, Venom Demon, forced them to flee. The escapees reached the outside only to find all battleships had withdrawn to a safe distance. Jinbei, utilizing his fishman karate, executed a massive ocean current shoulder throw to capture a marine ship. Meanwhile, those still inside, cornered by Magellan, made a desperate escape using Ivankov's Hell Wink, landing safely among Jinbei's summoned whale sharks. Their escape seemed doomed at the gates of justice until Bon Clay, disguising himself as Magellan, made the ultimate sacrifice to open them, leaving Luffy devastated but more determined than ever to save Ace. At Marineford, the Marines had assembled an overwhelming force to counter the anticipated Whitebeard pirates' rescue attempt. Their defenses were unprecedented. 100,000 Marine soldiers, 50 battleships strategically positioned around the crescent-shaped bay, and countless heavy artillery pieces lining the island's coast. 5 of the 7 warlords stood ready: Bartholomew Kuma, Gecko Moria, Don Quixote do Flamingo, Hawkeye Mihawk, and Boa Hancock. Most formidably, the Marines' ultimate military power, the 3 admirals, Aokiji, Kuzan, Akainu, Sakazuki, and Kizaru, Borsalino, prepared for what would become one of the greatest battles in pirate history. Before the execution, Fleet Admiral Sengoku revealed a shocking truth to the world. Ace's mother had sustained her pregnancy for 20 months through sheer willpower to protect her unborn child, the son of the Pirate King, Gol D. Roger. This revelation stunned the world. Luffy's grandfather, Garp, had known this secret all along, having promised Roger himself to protect his unborn child. Keeping this vow, Garp had raised both Ace and Luffy together. The battlefield dynamics suddenly shifted when 43 ships allied with the Whitebeard pirates appeared. More surprisingly, the Moby Dick, Whitebeard's flagship, emerged from beneath the bay itself. They had coded their ships to approach underwater, evading marine detection. 3 of Whitebeard's ships, carrying him and his 14 division commanders, materialized within the bay, completely nullifying the Marines' defensive formation. Whitebeard immediately seized the initiative, using his Tremor fruit powers to generate massive tsunamis. As the waves threatened to engulf the Marine forces, Admiral Aokiji countered with Ice Age, freezing both the tsunami and surrounding waters. This marked the war's official beginning, with Marines and pirates clashing across the frozen bay. Among the warlords, Hawkeye Mihawk struck first, launching the world's strongest slash at Whitebeard, only to be blocked by 3rd Division Commander Daimon Jozu. Admiral Kizaru, believing in striking the leader to minimize casualties, attacked Whitebeard directly, but was intercepted by 1st Division Commander Marco the Phoenix, who even managed to kick away the Admiral who wasn't fighting seriously. Admiral Akainu joined the fray, his magma powers melting vast sections of ice and raining destruction upon Whitebeard. When the Marines deployed their giant squad, Whitebeard countered with Little Oars Jr., descendant of the zombie Oars that Luffy had previously defeated. Though Oars easily overcame the giants, his massive size made him an easy target. He fell after successive attacks from Kuma, Doflamingo, who severed his leg, and Moria. However, his fallen body created a path for Whitebeard's forces to advance. Luffy's group made a dramatic entrance, falling from the sky after their ship was caught in Whitebeard's tsunami and subsequently frozen by Aokaji's Ice Age. Upon landing, Crocodile immediately attacked Whitebeard, only to be kicked away by Luffy. In a bold move, Luffy declared his intention to become Pirate King before Whitebeard, earning the Emperor's respect. Protected by Jinbei and Ivankov, Luffy pushed toward Ace. They faced successive opponents. Moria fell easily to Jinbei. Smoker nearly captured Luffy until Hancock intervened. And they encountered a transformed Kuma, who Doflamingo revealed had been completely converted into a weaponized cyborg, lacking any human consciousness. This forced Ivankov to fight his former friend. When Mihawk blocked their path, Luffy showed signs of developing observation haki, but remained outmatched until 5th Division Commander Vista intervened. Mihawk noted that Luffy's greatest power wasn't his strength but his ability to gather allies on the battlefield. The situation deteriorated when pacifists appeared, blocking the bay's exit and creating a pincer attack with the Marine forces. With this crisis, Whitebeard ordered all forces to advance into the plaza, while several division commanders provided cover for Luffy's advance. The battle took an unexpected turn when Squard, who had been missing, suddenly appeared and stabbed Whitebeard. He had been deceived by Akainu into believing Whitebeard had struck a deal with the government to sacrifice his 43 allied crews in exchange for saving his own crew and Ace. Rather than condemning Squard, Whitebeard embraced and forgave him before joining the battle himself. As the world's strongest man, Whitebeard's destructive power was overwhelming, easily devastating large portions of the Marine base. The Marines initiated their encirclement strategy, withdrawing their forces to raise massive steel walls around the battlefield, intending to trap the pirates. However, Little Oars Jr.'s body blocked one section, creating an opening through which pirates attempted to advance, suffering heavy casualties. Oars, regaining consciousness, seized a Whitebeard ship emerging from underwater and literally carried the pirates to the plaza, turning the Marines' strategy against them. As the battle intensified, Luffy pressed toward Ace but was intercepted by Kizaru, whose attack nearly knocked him unconscious. Meanwhile, Whitebeard collapsed, coughing blood as his illness worsened. Commanders Marco the Phoenix and Daimon Jozu fell trying to protect him, defeated by Kizaru and Aokiji respectively, while even Akainu joined the assault. With Whitebeard's forces crumbling, Luffy desperately requested Ivankov's hormones, determined to save his only brother. Though knowing it could kill Luffy, Ivankov injected him with adrenaline hormones, allowing him to continue. Pushing forward, Luffy easily overcame Kobe's attempt to stop him. As Sengoku announced the execution's commencement, Luffy unconsciously unleashed his Conqueror's haki, stunning the executioners and numerous Marines. This display prompted the Marines to target him as a future threat, while Whitebeard ordered his entire crew to protect Luffy. Under their coverage, Luffy reached the execution platform, with Inazuma creating a path using his Devil Fruit powers. There, Luffy faced his grandfather, Marine hero Vice Admiral Garp, who reluctantly stood in his way. In a heart-wrenching moment, Garp allowed himself to be defeated, enabling Luffy to reach Ace. Though Kizaru destroyed Luffy's key, Mr. 3, disguised as an executioner, created a wax key to free Ace. As Sengoku attacked in his Buddha form, Ace was finally freed, and the brothers demonstrated their incredible teamwork against the Marines. Whitebeard issued his final order as captain. he would hold off the Marines while everyone else retreated to the New World. However, when Akainu provoked Ace by insulting Whitebeard, Ace engaged him, only to sacrifice himself protecting Luffy from Akainu's lethal attack. With his dying breath, Ace thanked Luffy, Whitebeard, and all who had loved him, before his life flame extinguished. Luffy collapsed from the emotional and physical trauma, but before Akainu could strike him, an enraged Whitebeard intervened, brutally punishing the man who had killed his son. In a final act, Whitebeard split the plaza in two, creating an escape route for his crew, while he alone faced the Marines. The battlefield dynamics shifted dramatically with the arrival of the Blackbeard pirates. In the ensuing confrontation between Whitebeard and Blackbeard, the former gave his treacherous ex-subordinate a sound thrashing. However, weakened by illness and battle wounds, Whitebeard suddenly froze, allowing the Blackbeard pirates to launch a collective assault. Even in death, Whitebeard remained standing on the battlefield, a testament to his warrior spirit. The final tally of his wounds was staggering: 267 sword wounds, 152 gunshots, and 46 cannon hits. Yet significantly, his back bore not a single scar, proving he never once retreated from battle. Blackbeard then shrouded himself and Whitebeard's body under a black cloth. When he emerged, he had somehow acquired both the dark fruit and Whitebeard's tremor fruit powers, an unprecedented feat, as consuming 2 devil fruits typically results in death. This shocking development was followed by Blackbeard's rampage, during which he threatened to sink Marineford into the sea. Meanwhile, Akainu, ignoring the threat Blackbeard posed, relentlessly pursued Luffy. Jinbe, attempting to protect Luffy, was severely wounded by Akainu's attack. Their salvation came unexpectedly through Crocodile's intervention, with Buggy catching them in their escape. At this critical moment, Trafalgar Law emerged in his submarine, offering his medical expertise to save Luffy. Whitebeard's commanders continued engaging Akainu to protect Luffy's escape, while Blackbeard clashed with Sengoku, plunging the battlefield into further chaos. In a brave but seemingly futile gesture, Kobe stood before Akainu, arguing that with Whitebeard and Ace dead, the Marines had achieved their objective and further bloodshed was pointless. As Akainu moved to strike him down, red-haired Shanks made his dramatic entrance, saving Kobe's life. Shanks called for an end to the fighting, noting the heavy casualties on both sides and offering to personally handle the situation, while making it clear his crew would engage anyone who wished to continue the conflict. His intervention proved decisive. All factions, Marines, Whitebeard pirates, and Blackbeard pirates, ceased hostilities. Shanks took responsibility for the proper burial of both Whitebeard and Ace, bringing the world-shaking Summit War to its conclusion. Under Law's surgical care, Luffy's physical condition stabilized, though the combined physical and emotional trauma left his recovery dependent on his own will to live. Hancock arranged for Law's crew to seek refuge on Amazon Lily, providing a safe haven for Luffy's recovery. After 2 weeks of unconsciousness, Luffy finally awoke, but only to cry out Ace's name in desperation. He desperately wished everything had been just a nightmare, hoping to see Ace appear before him again. As reality sank in, Luffy's mind drifted to their shared past, beginning in 1510 of the Sea Calendar when he first met Ace and their other brother, Sabo. The three grew up together, bonded by their shared dream of becoming pirates. However, their brotherhood was disrupted when Sabo, born to nobility, was forcibly taken home. His capture also endangered Luffy and Ace, preventing him from returning to them. Unhappy with the constraints of noble life, Sabo attempted to set sail for freedom, but met with tragedy when his ship was attacked by a celestial dragon. When news of Sabo's fate reached them, both brothers were devastated, particularly by their powerlessness. This loss drove them to train harder, believing greater strength would have allowed them to protect Sabo and live more freely. 7 years later, in 1517, 17-year-old Ace began his journey. Luffy continued his rigorous training until 1520, when he too set sail at 17, vowing to become the Pirate King. These memories only intensified Luffy's current grief. Just as with Sabo, his weakness had cost him Ace's life. As Luffy descended into another bout of madness, Jinbe intervened, telling him that while losses cannot be undone, he must consider what remains. These words reached Luffy, reminding him of his crew. Through tears, he realized he wasn't alone. he still had trustworthy companions waiting for him. He resolved to reunite with them at Sabaody Archipelago. Just as they prepared to depart, Rayleigh arrived, having learned of Luffy's location from Bartholomew Kuma himself. Shaggy had deduced his whereabouts through Amazon Lily's connection to Hancock, demonstrating an uncanny woman's intuition. It was revealed that Rayleigh, Shaggy, and Elder Neon had helped the Boa sisters during their escape from slavery. However, Rayleigh's purpose wasn't reminiscence, but to offer Luffy training to become strong enough to protect his companions. After accepting Rayleigh's offer, Luffy, under his and Jinbe's protection, returned to Marineford. There, he rang the Ox Bell 16 times, paying silent tribute to Whitebeard and Ace before departing. His actions, captured by media present, quickly spread worldwide. His crew, seeing the news, understood the hidden message in the photograph, the 3D2Y written on his arm. The original 3-day meeting was now postponed to 2 years, time they would use to strengthen themselves for the challenges ahead. Back on Amazon Lily, Rayleigh began training Luffy in the 3 types of haki. Observation haki, akin to mantra, which allows one to sense and predict opponents' movements. Armament haki, which creates an invisible armor around the body, enhancing both defense and attack power while being particularly effective against Devil Fruit users. And the rare Conqueror's haki, possessed by only a chosen few, capable of overwhelming others through sheer force of will. Under Rayleigh's guidance, Luffy began mastering these essential abilities. Simultaneously, each Straw Hat crew member pursued their own path to strength. Chopper immersed himself in advanced medical studies at Torino Kingdom, expanding his pharmaceutical knowledge. Nami devoted herself to understanding advanced weather science on Witheria, mastering the complex climate patterns of the New World. Frankie accessed Dr. Vegapunk's revolutionary research on Karakuri Island, incorporating cutting-edge technology into his cybernetic body. Sanji endured challenging training in both combat and cooking with Ivankov in Kamabaka Kingdom. Brook, though initially treated as a monster, dedicated himself to honing his musical and combat abilities. Robin sought out the Revolutionary Army to meet Dragon, Luffy's father, while deepening her understanding of history. Usopp trained under Heracles on Boyne Archipelago, developing both his sharpshooting skills and physical strength. And Zoro studied advanced swordsmanship under his former enemy, Hawkeye Mihawk. Each member committed themselves to becoming stronger, all for the shared dream of helping their captain become the Pirate King. When the 2 years concluded in 1522, Luffy completed his training and Hancock personally escorted him to Sabaody Archipelago. His reputation had soared following the Summit War, with his bounty reaching 400 million berries. Upon arrival, they discovered imposters using the Straw Hat's name, triggering Marine intervention. Luffy demonstrated his growth by effortlessly defeating a pacifista with a single strike, while Zoro and Sanji showed similar improvements by easily dispatching other units, a stark contrast to their desperate struggle 2 years prior. The crew's reunion at the Sunny became a testament to their growth, with their various allies, including Hancock, Perona, Duval, Herodus, and Heracles, forming a protective barrier against pursuing Marines. As the strengthened Straw Hat pirates set sail again, Frankie revealed a touching truth. Bartholomew Kuma, as part of his Revolutionary Army duties, had protected the Sunny throughout their absence, standing guard until the last crew member returned, despite having lost his personality to the Marine modifications. Their journey was briefly interrupted by the Caribou Pirates' attempted attack, but their sea cow, recognizing Luffy and Sanji from a traumatic East Blue encounter, fled in terror, abandoning Caribou to capture. At the massive underwater waterfall, they faced the legendary Kraken. Rather than avoid it, Luffy chose to tame the beast, successfully defeating it while saving a peculiar clothes-wearing shark. The erupting downward current separated some crew members, leading to a confrontation with Hammond and his sea monsters until Luffy returned triumphantly with the newly tamed Kraken. The Kraken guided them to Fishman Island, 10,000 meters beneath the surface, where they encountered immediate hostility from the new Fishman pirates. These pirates, harboring deep-seated hatred for humans and recognizing Luffy as Arlong's defeater, threatened to destroy the Straw Hats before they could properly enter the island. Though Frankie's quick thinking and coup de burst got them past the initial blockade and into Fishman Island's waters, violent currents scattered the crew, leaving them struggling in the unfamiliar depths of the ocean. Upon regaining consciousness, they discovered that Kami had rescued Luffy, Sanji, and others. While exploring Fishman Island's beautiful scenery, Sanji suffered severe blood loss from his cultural shock at seeing mermaids. His condition required an urgent blood transfusion, but both fishmen and merfolk refused. Local laws prohibited giving blood to humans, a reflection of centuries of humans treating them as inferior beings. Even the fishman hero Fisher Tiger had died because of this prejudice. Desperate, Cammy led them to the human district to find compatible donors, ultimately saving Sanji's life. King Neptune arrived to thank them for saving the mermaid princess's shark and invited them to Ryugu Palace. During their lavish reception, Luffy wandered off and encountered Princess Shirahoshi, the timid, cry-prone mermaid princess who had been confined in Hardshell Tower for 10 years due to Vanderdecken's harassment. Decken, a devil fruit user who could make anything he threw pursue his target, had been tormenting her. Unfazed, Luffy promised to protect Shirahoshi and smuggled her out inside her shark companion's mouth. Meanwhile, Caribou's kidnapping of several mermaids was blamed on the Straw Hats. Adding to their troubles, the island's fortune teller Shiarly predicted that Luffy would destroy Fishman Island. These suspicions, combined with the prophecy, turned them into wanted criminals. Their status at Ryugu Palace shifted from guests to enemies, leading to conflicts with the palace guards. The situation deteriorated when Hody Jones and Vanderdecken invaded the palace, Hody seeking to usurp Neptune's throne while Decken pursued Shirahoshi. After learning of Shirahoshi's disappearance, Decken left to chase her, leaving his forces to battle the Straw Hats and palace guards. When the palace was flooded, Zoro fought Hody underwater. Despite the disadvantage, Zoro's improved strength initially overcame Hody, but the new Fishman pirates' use of energy steroids dramatically increased their power, leading to the capture of Zoro, Usopp, Brook, and King Neptune. Meanwhile, Luffy easily defeated both Decken and his sea monsters when they caught up to him and Shirahoshi. They escaped to the sea forest, where Shirahoshi wished to visit her mother's grave. There they met Jinbei, who apologized to Nami for releasing Arlong to the East Blue 11 years ago. Jinbei then revealed Fishman Island's history. 16 years ago, in 1506, Queen Otohime advocated for peaceful human-fishman relations, gathering signatures to relocate Fishman Island to the surface. However, her initiative gained little support. Simultaneously, Fisher Tiger, having witnessed humanity's darker nature, attacked Mariajois to free its slaves and formed the Sun Pirates, which Jinbei and Arlong joined. While the Sun Pirates became wanted criminals engaged in constant battles, Queen Otohime continued her peaceful efforts through different means. By 1510, the Sun Pirates had taken in Koala, a young human girl who had been enslaved 3 years prior. Her trauma manifested in constant smiling, afraid that showing any other emotion might bring punishment. Her deeply ingrained slave mentality moved even the most human-hating fishmen. Eventually, she integrated into their crew until they could return her home. However, this act of kindness led to tragedy when villagers alerted the Marines, resulting in Fisher Tiger suffering multiple gunshot wounds. Though the crew rescued him, Tiger needed an urgent blood transfusion. Tragically, no crew member matched his blood type, and he adamantly refused human blood. Tiger revealed he too had been a slave, fueling his hatred for humans. While he believed in Queen Otohime's vision of peace, he felt it would only be possible with Koala's generation. He died from blood loss, using his final breath to warn his crew against living in hatred. Arlong, consumed by vengeance, returned to attack humans but was captured by Kizaru. Jinbei assumed leadership of the Sun Pirates, gaining such prominence that the world government offered him a position as warlord. He accepted, seeing it as an opportunity to facilitate human-fishman relations and free his imprisoned companions, including Arlong. However, Arlong rejected Jinbei's diplomatic approach and departed for the East Blue, while Jinbei returned to Fishman Island with the remaining crew. A pivotal moment came when a celestial dragon shipwrecked on the island. When former slaves attempted to kill him, Queen Otohime shielded him with her body. Despite this sacrifice, world noble Myoskar took her hostage. Young Shirahoshi's crying summoned Sea Kings, terrifying the celestial dragon, a moment that revealed her power to Vanderdecken, beginning his obsession. Otohime accompanied the recovered celestial dragon to the surface, returning a week later with a declaration of friendship between humans and fishmen. She needed only gather sufficient signatures to present at the World Council. Her years of effort finally moved the populace to sign, But tragedy struck when the petition box was set ablaze. While attempting to save the signatures, Otohime was assassinated. When Jinbei arrived, Hody, a palace guard, claimed to have found and killed the human pirate responsible. Though Otohime's immediate efforts were thwarted, her princes vowed to continue her legacy. Learning this history helped Luffy's group better understand the current situation. However, Hody then announced his plans to establish a new kingdom and execute Neptune and the captured Straw Hats. While Luffy wanted immediate confrontation, Jinbei proposed a strategic approach. He would attempt to rescue Neptune while appearing to fail, while others retrieved the Celestial Dragon's letter and freed the captured crew members. Jinbei would then signal Luffy for help, presenting the Straw Hats as saviors working with him against Hody, legitimizing their intervention and potentially improving human-fishman relations. Meanwhile, Hody's excessive energy steroid use triggered a mutation, granting him tremendous power. He easily suppressed the royal army and overwhelmed the three princes, demonstrating the terrifying effects of his transformation. Jinbei and Princess Shirahoshi's mission began according to plan, but they quickly fell into Hody's trap and were captured. With his perceived victory complete, Hody arrogantly confessed to murdering Queen Otohime, revealing how he had framed a human pirate to reignite hatred between humans and fishmen, all to facilitate his ultimate goal of ruling the kingdom and eliminating humanity. Shirahoshi then revealed she had long known this truth through her shark Megalo, who had witnessed the assassination, but had kept silent, honoring her mother's teaching to never harbor hatred, even toward her killer. Hody mockingly laughed at what he perceived as her naivety. As Hody prepared to execute King Neptune, the citizens, faced with this hopeless reality, and now knowing the truth, began calling for Luffy, believing his prophesied destruction preferable to Hody's tyranny. Answering their desperate calls, Luffy burst from Megalo's stomach and launched Hody flying with a powerful kick. Simultaneously, Nami and Robin secured the Celestial Dragon's letter and freed Neptune and the princes, while the rest of the crew arrived aboard the Sunny. The reunited Straw Hat pirates, including Jinbei, faced overwhelming odds, 10 against 100,000. However, Luffy immediately demonstrated his growth by unleashing Conqueror's Haki, instantly incapacitating half the enemy forces and shocking everyone present. The remaining 50,000 provided the perfect opportunity for the crew to showcase their 2 years of training. Even the Kraken, upon seeing Luffy, switched allegiance to aid them. The crew made short work of the remaining forces before engaging Hody's officers, easily overwhelming them despite their drug-enhanced strength. The situation escalated when Vanderdecken threw Noah toward the island. Shirahoshi, knowing she was the target, used herself as bait to draw it away. However, Hody killed Decken, causing Noah to plummet toward Fishman Island. Despite fighting underwater, Luffy dominated Hody, who desperately consumed more energy steroids at the cost of his lifespan. Though this temporarily allowed him to match Luffy, he ultimately fell to Luffy's superior strength. As Luffy attempted to destroy Noah with his elephant Gatling to save the island, Shirahoshi's power as Poseidon manifested, calling Sea Kings to stop Noah's descent. The victory came at a cost, with Luffy collapsing from blood loss. With the new Fishman pirates captured, Luffy needed a blood transfusion, but the kingdom's laws prohibited giving human blood. In a historic moment, Jinbei stepped forward to donate his blood, a symbolic act representing a path toward harmony between humans and fishmen. Upon recovery, Luffy invited Jinbei to join his crew, but Jinbei declined due to unfinished business, promising to return once resolved. During the victory celebration, Robin learned from Neptune about Joy Boy, a figure from the Void Century who left an apologetic poneglyph for the mermaid princess, promising someone would fulfill his broken promise in the future. Neptune revealed Shirahoshi's identity as Poseidon, capable of commanding sea kings like her ancestor. Jinbei then shared 2 major developments. Akainu had defeated Aokiji in a 10-day duel for Fleet Admiral, leading to Aokiji's departure from the Marines, and the Blackbeard pirates had claimed Whitebeard's territory, with Blackbeard becoming the new emperor. The victory celebrations were interrupted when Caribou attempted to kidnap Princess Shirahoshi, but Luffy thwarted his plan and recovered the stolen national treasures. Their attention then turned to the pressing matter of Big Mom's pirates, as Fishman Island had an agreement to supply them with 10 tons of candy daily. However, between Hody's destruction of the factory and the celebration's consumption, they couldn't meet this quota. Luffy boldly offered their recovered treasures as compensation and went further by challenging Big Mom herself, declaring he would defeat her in the New World. Neptune worried privately about a bomb hidden in one of the treasure boxes, but kept this information from the Straw Hats. As the crew departed, ascending the 10,000 meters back to the surface and entering the New World, they felt their 2 years of training would finally be put to the test. Their first challenge came in the form of a distress signal leading them to Punk Hazard, an island of raging flames where they encountered the legendary sight of a dragon, more surprisingly, with a person's lower body attached to it. After defeating the dragon and rescuing the mysterious lower half, they learned that Nami, Sanji, and others had been ambushed and captured while guarding the ship. The captured crew members awoke in a mysterious research facility where they met Kinemon, a samurai from Wano, whose head was separated from his body while searching for his son. During their escape attempt, they discovered numerous giant children who claimed they were there for treatment, but wished to return home. Nami resolved to help them escape. Meanwhile, learning their companions were on the opposite side of the island, Luffy's group discovered Punk Hazard wasn't simply a burning island, it was split between fire and ice, a result of the epic battle between Admirals Aokiji and Akainu. As they attempted to cross the extreme temperature differences, they encountered the Brownbeard pirates, whom they quickly defeated and commandeered for guidance. Marine G5 Vice Admiral Smoker had also tracked them to the island, where they encountered Trafalgar Law, now a warlord, who attempted to maintain secrecy about the facility until the escaping children exposed his cover. Law used his powers to switch people's bodies, including Smoker and Tashigi's, and removed Smoker's heart without killing him. When Luffy's group arrived, he joyfully greeted Law, his savior from 2 years ago. After reuniting and attaching Kinemon's parts, they learned the truth about Punk Hazard. 4 years prior, it had been a lush research facility for Dr. Vegapunk until an explosion and chemical leak devastated the island. Caesar Clown had remained, supposedly helping the survivors by having Law attach animal legs to those who lost their ability to walk. However, when Kinemon ran off to find his remaining body parts, Sanji, in Nami's body, followed, leading to their defeat by Caesar's assassins. The situation became dire when the children suddenly collapsed in agony. Chopper's analysis revealed they weren't sick. Caesar had been feeding them addictive drugs disguised as candy, causing withdrawal symptoms when deprived. As the children began to rampage, Usopp managed to subdue them with his sleep star. Suspicious of the circumstances, the group planned to investigate the research facility, leaving Chopper, in Sanji's body, and Nami, in Frankie's body, to guard the children. The guards were quickly tested when the Yeti Cool brothers attacked, kidnapping Nami and Frankie's body. Luffy pursued them but was hindered by Frankie and Chopper's body, who had lost control after taking a rumble ball. Law joined the chase, defeating the assassins before proposing an alliance with the Straw Hats to defeat Emperor Kaido. After Luffy's quick agreement, Law restored everyone to their original bodies and revealed their first objective, kidnapping Caesar Clown. While Law and Chopper infiltrated the facility to research the drugs, Caesar unleashed his weapon, Smiley, the compressed form of the poisonous gas that had devastated the island 4 years ago. Meanwhile, Zoro and Sanji regained consciousness and found Kinemon's upper body in the sea. After reuniting his body parts, Kinemon demonstrated his ability to cut fire, helping them escape the surrounding Smiley. Law's infiltration was compromised when he encountered Vergo, Smoker's superior and Doflamingo's subordinate. Having previously exchanged hearts with Monet as part of his cover, Law found himself helpless when Vergo revealed possession of his heart. Simultaneously, Luffy confronted Caesar, whose gas fruit powers proved deadly despite Luffy's poison immunity from his encounter with Magellan. Caesar's additional abilities caught Luffy off guard, leading to his defeat. Following Luffy's capture, Robin, Frankie, Smoker, and Tashigi were also defeated and restrained with sea stone cuffs. Caesar then captured Nami, Usopp, and the children, before broadcasting his experiment to underworld brokers. He demonstrated his weapon, Land of Death, by feeding Smiley a giant candy, creating a petrifying purple gas that spread across the island. As the remaining crew members fled to the research facility, Law revealed he had secretly replaced some sea stone chains with normal ones during his months of infiltration. After freeing the others, he struck a deal with Smoker, returning him and Tashigi to their bodies in exchange for defeating Vergo. They managed to rescue the G5 Marines and the rest of the crew just before the deadly gas reached them. With their temporary alliance formed, they planned to reach Building R to escape the island, capture Caesar, and rescue the children. Caesar, learning of their survival, ordered the passage between Buildings A and B sealed, and began flooding Building A with poison gas. The Straw Hats and Marines raced against time as the doors began closing. The Marines sacrificed themselves to throw Tashigi to safety, a sight that deeply wounded her. Their sacrifice was met with betrayal as Virgo appeared, systematically defeating both Tashigi and the remaining Marines. Sanji intervened, continuing to fight even after Virgo broke his leg. But the battle was interrupted when they discovered Law had destroyed the sad production room. Virgo, holding Law's heart, rushed to confront him. The tide turned when Smoker, enraged by Virgo's treachery, joined the fight. Though initially overwhelmed by Virgo's full-body armament haki, Smoker's distraction allowed Law to recover his heart. With his power restored, Law defeated Virgo with a single strike, destroying both the trader and the SAD facility. Simultaneously, Luffy confronted Caesar, fighting more cautiously after understanding his opponent's abilities. Using Gear Second and Armament Haki, Luffy gained the upper hand until Monet intervened, revealing herself as Doflamingo's agent. Her Snow Fruit powers temporarily immobilized Luffy, who eventually fell into the facility's underground garbage dump after breaking through the floor. Chopper, having obtained the drug's formula and sedatives, faced the rampaging children alone until Nami's group arrived. Their rescue attempt was interrupted by Monet, whom Zoro agreed to face. His initial reluctance to attack a woman led Monet to underestimate him, but when Tashigi joined the fight and struggled, Zoro demonstrated his true power. Without using haki, his intimidating presence alone was enough to cut Monet, allowing Tashigi to deliver the finishing blow. As poison gas leaked into the facility, the children continued pursuing Mocha, the only child aware of the candy's true nature. In a desperate act, Mocha consumed all the candy herself, collapsing and shocking the other children into stillness. This allowed the adults to sedate the children while Chopper fought to save Mocha's life. In the garbage dump, Luffy encountered a small dragon claiming to be Momonosuke, who revealed he had accidentally eaten a devil fruit after learning of Caesar's experiments on children. Enraged by this revelation, Luffy returned to the surface to confront Caesar, arriving just as the scientist manipulated Brownbeard's loyalty. Caesar's boasts about his illegal research and sad production for Doflamingo only fueled Luffy's anger. Despite absorbing Land of Death to power up, Caesar fell to Luffy's haki-enhanced Thor elephant gun. As the group attempted to escape, Kinemon was petrified by Land of Death while searching for Momonosuke. Meanwhile, Monet, following Doflamingo's orders, attempted to destroy the facility. However, Law's earlier manipulation of the hearts led Caesar to accidentally kill Monet instead of Smoker, inadvertently saving everyone. This twist of fate demonstrated how Law's careful planning had accounted for multiple contingencies. As these events unfolded, Doflamingo's reinforcements arrived to support Caesar, engaging in battle with Frankie, who was guarding the Sunny. When they spotted Luffy's group emerging from the facility, they attempted to escape with Caesar, but Nami and Usopp finally had their moment to shine, working together to capture all three with sea stone chains, bringing the incident to its conclusion. During the aftermath, they discovered that Kinemon's petrification was merely a shell of solidified gas. His shattering actually freed him from the coating. His emotional reunion with Momonosuke touched everyone present, while Law used his Opa-Opi fruit powers to purge the toxins from the children's bodies. After brief recuperation, the Straw Hats set sail for Dressrosa, Doflamingo's kingdom. When Doflamingo arrived at Punk Hazard, he found only the severed heads of Baby Five and Buffalo, along with a Den Mushi call from Law. Law revealed that Doflamingo's Smile artificial devil fruit operation supplied Kaido, and without Caesar, production would cease. He demanded Doflamingo resign from his warlord position in exchange for Caesar's return. An enraged Doflamingo returned to Punk Hazard to reattach his subordinates' heads and confronted Smoker. But former Admiral Aokiji's timely intervention forced Doflamingo to retreat. Meanwhile, Law explained their alliance's true objective to the Straw Hats. Emperor Kaido had amassed an army of over 500 artificial devil fruit users through Doflamingo's Smile operation. To challenge Kaido, they needed to first cripple Doflamingo's Smile factory, cutting off his supply. With Kinemon also seeking his missing companion in Dressrosa, their goals aligned perfectly. When news of Doflamingo's resignation from the warlords broke, They arranged to exchange Caesar at Greenbits Beach in Dressrosa. Law outlined their strategy, dividing into 3 teams. Law, Robin, and Usopp would handle Caesar's exchange. Luffy, Sanji, Zoro, and Frankie would target the Smile Factory. The remaining crew would guard the Sunny while Kinemon searched for his friend Kanjuro. Despite Doflamingo's apparent resignation from both the warlords and his throne, Dressrosa presented a surprisingly peaceful facade, with its streets filled with remarkable living toys that could speak and move freely, a sight that astonished the crew. Luffy's group's first notable encounter was with a blind man whom Luffy aided, only to later discover he was Fujitora, the newly appointed Marine Admiral. Simultaneously, Zoro found himself pursuing a fairy-like thief who had stolen his sword, with Sanji joining the chase. Luffy and Frankie discovered from Doflamingo's subordinates that the Colosseum was hosting a tournament with the Flame Fruit as its prize. They learned that when Devil Fruit users die, their powers regenerate in fruits elsewhere in the world. Ace's fruit had fallen into Doflamingo's possession and was now being offered as a prize. Determined to claim his brother's inherited power, Luffy entered the tournament under the alias Lucy. The competition drew various powerful figures, including Cavendish, a super rookie from 3 years prior, who harbored intense resentment toward Luffy's generation for overshadowing his own fame. During his time at the Colosseum, Luffy encountered Rebecca before a bronze statue. She revealed herself as the former king's granddaughter, forced to fight in the Colosseum due to Doflamingo's influence. She shared the legend of Kyros, the statue's subject, who had achieved an unprecedented 3,000 consecutive victories. Luffy noticed the townspeople's strange aversion to Rebecca. He also met Bellamy, who recognized him immediately but claimed to have changed since their Sky Island encounter, now seeking to join Doflamingo's crew. After separating from Sanji, Zoro caught the diminutive thief Wicca of the Tontada tribe, who warned of an imminent attack on the Sunny by the Don Quixote family. Meanwhile, Sanji fell prey to Violet's seduction, leading to his capture. However, Violet, an executive of the Don Quixote family with the Glare fruit, found herself moved by Sanji's persistent faith in her goodness despite her betrayal. She revealed the truth. Doflamingo's resignation announcement was a calculated deception, with CP0 scheduled to correct this news at 3 p.m., precisely when Law planned to exchange Caesar. When this intelligence reached Law at the beach, he found himself trapped between Doflamingo and Fujitora. Stripped of his warlord status for allying with pirates, Law faced Fujitora's overwhelming gravity fruit powers, which summoned devastating meteorites. Unable to fight both opponents, Law was captured. Doflamingo revealed his family's ancient connection to the world government, explaining how his celestial dragon heritage enabled him to manipulate even the world government's official announcements. Simultaneously, Robin and Usopp were captured by the Tontada tribe, but quickly turned the situation to their advantage. Usopp cleverly fabricated a connection to Noland, the explorer who had aided the tribe 400 years prior, presenting himself as Usoland. This coincided with the tribe's planned uprising against Doflamingo, leading to an unexpected alliance. Meanwhile, Frankie learned from the mysterious toy soldier that Dressrosa's toys were actually transformed humans, their loved ones' memories of them erased by a devil fruit user in Doflamingo's family. As these revelations spread, the crew split up. Sanji rushed to protect the Sunny while Zoro and Kinemon went to warn Luffy. The Sunny's defenders faced Jorah, whose art fruit transformed them into abstract art pieces. Through Brook's clever strategy of engaging her in artistic discourse while concealing his true intentions, they managed to defeat her and restore everyone to normal, demonstrating the crew's adaptability in facing devil fruit powers. Law managed to seize a crucial moment of distraction from Doflamingo and Fujitora to make his escape. But his pursuit took an unexpected turn when Doflamingo spotted the Sunny in the distance. Shifting his attention to the crew's ship, Doflamingo forced Sanji into action, who arrived just in time to protect his crewmates. However, even Sanji's impressive abilities proved insufficient against Doflamingo's mastery of the string fruit. Law's timely intervention created an opening for the crew to escape toward Zoo with Caesar, while he remained behind to confront Doflamingo, though this noble sacrifice ultimately ended in his defeat. At the Flower Field, a crucial meeting brought together Usopp, Robin, and Frankie, where they learned the deep-rooted history of both the Tontada tribe and Dressrosa. The Tontadas' tragic past revealed their early settlement in Dressrosa and subsequent enslavement by the Don Quixote family, forced into grueling underground labor while humans enjoyed prosperity above ground. This oppressive system persisted until 900 years ago, followed by the mysterious Void Century. The ascension of the first Riku king 800 years ago marked a turning point, as he liberated the Tontadas and granted them unprecedented freedoms, cleverly explaining their presence to the public as playful fairies. This peaceful era ended with Doflamingo's return to power, during which he captured over 500 Tontadas, including Princess Mansari, spurring their current rebellion. The toy soldier's revelation of events from 10 years ago exposed Doflamingo's calculated takeover. He had approached King Riku with an ultimatum: 10 billion berries or war. When Riku attempted to peacefully raise the money from his citizens, Doflamingo used his powers to manipulate the king and his army into attacking their own people, only to position himself as their savior. His machinations extended to forcing Violet into his service by threatening her father's life, while transforming countless citizens into toys, a fate that left them remembered by none except themselves. The toy soldier, secretly Rebecca's father, dedicated himself to freeing these transformed citizens and overthrowing Doflamingo's tyrannical rule. The Colosseum tournament unfolded across 4 intensely competitive blocks. Block A concluded with Jesus Burgess of the Blackbeard Pirates claiming victory. Block B featured a spectacular battle royale showcasing various fighting styles, culminating in a dramatic finale between King Elisabella II's devastating King Punch and Bartolomeo's impenetrable barriers, with the latter emerging victorious. Block C centered on the explosive confrontation between Luffy and Don Chinchao, whose 500 million berry bounty and bitter grudge against Garp stemmed from the loss of his treasured head drill. Luffy's victory proved transformative, as his attack actually restored Chinchao's drill, converting the old warrior's hatred into gratitude. The tournament's progression grew more complicated as Cavendish discovered Luffy's true identity, while Bartolomeo's passionate admiration for the Straw Hat crew added another layer of chaos. This confusion allowed Rebecca to extract Luffy from the situation, though her seemingly friendly meal invitation revealed itself as a coordinated assassination attempt. After easily subduing Rebecca, Luffy learned of her royal heritage through her mother, Doflamingo's violent usurpation, and the toy soldier's unwavering protection through years of public hatred and persecution. In a cruel twist, defeated fighters found themselves transformed into toys in an underground dump, including the disguised former King Riku himself, their autonomy stripped away along with their human forms. Block D's battles showcased not only Rebecca's considerable fighting prowess, but also revealed the disturbing nature of Cavendish's split personality, which emerged during his sleep to devastating effect. Only Rebecca demonstrated the skill to withstand these terrifying attacks, ultimately securing victory when Cavendish's alternate personality subsided into slumber once more, leaving her the sole competitor standing in an arena littered with the unconscious forms of her fallen opponents. The Straw Hats coordinated their strategy through Den Mushi across 3 locations. Frankie detailed Dressrosa's complex situation and his commitment to aid the Tontada tribe's rebellion against Doflamingo. Luffy, characteristically decisive, enthusiastically endorsed the plan for chaos. However, their strategic discussion was interrupted by the appearance of Big Mom's ship pursuing the Sunny for Caesar. After careful deliberation with Luffy, the crew decided to split. Nami, Sanji, Brook, and Chopper would escort Momonosuke and Caesar to Zoo, while the others remained to confront Doflamingo. The situation took a dramatic turn when Doflamingo arrived with the defeated Law, brutally shooting him before Luffy's eyes. Admiral Fujitora's arrival with Marine forces led to a brief but intense clash with Zoro, before both Doflamingo and Fujitora departed with the injured Law. As Luffy prepared to pursue them, he encountered an astonishing figure. His brother Sabo, believed dead for 10 years, now the Revolutionary Army's chief of staff. Sabo offered to secure the Flame fruit in Luffy's stead, allowing his brother to focus on confronting Doflamingo and rescuing Law. Their strategic focus centered on Operation SOP, targeting Sugar in the secret underground port beneath the toy house. Sugar, despite her childlike appearance, a side effect of her devil fruit, was actually much older and wielded the dangerous Hobby fruit, capable of transforming anyone she touched into toys. Protected by Treble, a senior executive with the Stick Fruit's formidable abilities, Sugar represented the linchpin of Doflamingo's control over Dressrosa. The plan hinged on incapacitating her to reverse all toy transformations. Meanwhile, Frankie launched a diversionary assault on the toy house's main entrance, drawing enemy attention to facilitate the operation's success. The Coliseum finals commenced with heightened tension, featuring the 4-block winners and Diamante, Doflamingo's executive who wielded the Ripple fruit. Simultaneously, Luffy, Zoro, and Kinemon infiltrated the palace under Violet's guidance, encountering Pika, whose stone fruit abilities gave him complete control over the palace structure. Zoro remained behind to engage this formidable opponent, allowing Luffy to advance and eventually join forces with the toy soldier, in anticipation of Operation SOP's success. The toy soldier's revelation as Kyros, the legendary undefeated gladiator, unveiled a tragic history interwoven with Dressrosa's fate. Once a condemned criminal, he earned King Riku's trust through 3,000 consecutive victories, eventually rising to army commander and secretly marrying Princess Scarlet. Their happiness, crowned by Rebecca's birth, was shattered during Doflamingo's coup. In a desperate attempt to save King Riku, Kyros severed his own leg to escape a trap, but was transformed into a toy, forgotten by everyone, including his beloved wife, who later met her tragic end at Diamante's hands. Operation SOP unfolded in parallel operations. Frankie's heroic but ultimately overwhelming battle against multiple executives and Marines served as a crucial diversion, while Usopp's team attempted their more subtle approach with specially prepared spicy grapes targeting Sugar's grape-eating habit. Though their initial plan failed catastrophically, with Robin transformed and the Tontatas defeated, an unexpected twist occurred when Sugar force-fed Usopp the spicy grape. His explosive reaction proved so terrifying it knocked Sugar unconscious, breaking her power's hold over the entire country. This success not only restored all toys to human form, but also exposed the full extent of Doflamingo's dark reign, simultaneously elevating Usopp to legendary status among the liberated citizens who witnessed his divine intervention. In the Coliseum, the breaking of Sugar's power triggered Rebecca's flood of restored memories about her father, the toy soldier, marking a crucial emotional turning point in their family's tragic story, and adding personal stakes to the rebellion against Doflamingo's tyrannical regime. Sabo finally began fighting in earnest at the Coliseum, destroying the arena floor to drop other competitors into the water while seizing and consuming the flame fruit, inheriting Ace's power. Demonstrating his newfound abilities, he unleashed a fire-powered punch that connected the Coliseum to the underground port, where he escorted Rebecca to rendezvous with his Revolutionary Army comrades and Robin's group. Meanwhile, the restored Kyros challenged Doflamingo, seemingly decapitating him with a single strike. However, this proved to be merely a string clone. Rather than killing them, Doflamingo had Pika use his powers to cast them from the King's Plateau before activating his birdcage, an indestructible, gradually contracting barrier that would eventually kill everyone trapped within. Doflamingo then announced a deadly game to the nation, placing bounties exceeding 100 million berries on 12 key figures, including the Straw Hats and the Riku royal family, with Usopp commanding the highest bounty of 500 million. He offered the citizens a choice: kill these 12 targets to survive, or kill Doflamingo himself to destroy the birdcage. Luffy and Law rushed toward Doflamingo's new palace atop the plateau, joined by grateful Coliseum fighters eager to support their cause. When Pika transformed into a massive stone giant to block their path, Luffy shattered his head to expose his true form, leaving Zoro to engage him while the others pressed forward. As Marines moved to capture Luffy, Sabo intervened in a godlike display of power, easily defeating Vice Admirals while engaging Admiral Fujitora in an earth-shattering battle. However, Sabo noticed Fujitora wasn't fighting at full strength, revealing the Admiral's tacit support for their cause despite his official position. Unable to directly aid pirates, Fujitora had placed his own bet on their success, resulting in a deliberate stalemate with Sabo. In the underground depths, Kinemon located his companion Kanjuro, whose ability to bring drawings to life provided their escape route to the surface. Meanwhile, Luffy's group encountered Doflamingo's executives, prompting their newfound Coliseum allies to remain behind and engage these opponents. Despite their diverse backgrounds, these fighters united against a common enemy, while Luffy and Law continued their ascent to confront Doflamingo. Rebecca reached the 4th-level flower field, intending to deliver Law's key to Luffy as promised, only to encounter Diamante, one of Doflamingo's top executives and her mother's murderer. Though burning with rage at facing her mother's killer, she found herself overwhelmed by his superior combat abilities. Her father Kiros arrived at the crucial moment, stepping in to protect his daughter and seek vengeance for his slain wife. After Luffy obtained the key and freed Law, they continued their ascent, unaware of Sugar's stealthy approach. Usopp's group, utilizing Violet's glare fruit powers, discovered that Sugar had regained consciousness and was targeting Luffy and Law, who remained ignorant of her ability to transform humans into toys. Taking decisive action, Usopp orchestrated a complex long-range attack, combining Kanjuro's drawing abilities with Violet's powers for precise targeting. During this critical moment, Usopp awakened his observation haki, allowing him to sense his target's presence clearly. He launched his special bagworm star, featuring his terrifying visage, a sight that triggered Sugar's traumatic memories and caused her to faint once again, secretly saving his unknowing captain from disaster. The Colosseum fighters engaged in multiple fierce battles against Doflamingo's executives. Sai's confrontation with Baby 5 took an unexpected turn when her psychological compulsion to feel needed led to romantic misunderstandings. The situation grew more complex when Don Chinzhou intervened, disapproving of their impromptu engagement and attempting to eliminate Baby 5 with his legendary drill technique. Sai's intervention not only saved Baby 5, but also resulted in breaking his grandfather's drill head once again. This act of surpassing his predecessor earned Chinzhou's respect, though the tender moment was interrupted by Lao Ji's surprise attack. Sai, driven by filial duty and newfound love, defeated Lao Ji with his perfected drill technique, simultaneously avenging his father and cementing his relationship with Baby 5. Giant Hadrudin faced the overwhelming power of Mach Vis's Tunton fruit, which initially seemed insurmountable. Drawing strength from memories of his humiliating transformation into a toy and his debt to the Straw Hats, Hadrudin performed his hero's spear technique, enduring crushing weight and shattered bones to launch Mach Vis into the birdcage in a display of indomitable will. Dellinger, leveraging his fishman-human hybrid nature, proved a formidable opponent, systematically defeating several elite Colosseum fighters including Suleiman, Dagama, and Ideo. However, his streak ended abruptly when confronted by Cavendish's alternate personality, Hakuba. Meanwhile, Cavendish and Bartolomeo's battle against Gladius reached a critical point when the executive attempted a suicide explosion that threatened Robin. Bartolomeo, a devoted Straw Hat fan, contained the blast within his barriers at great personal cost, before defeating Gladius with barrier techniques inspired by his idol Luffy. Robin arrived to protect Rebecca, allowing Kairos to focus completely on his duel with Diamante. Despite suffering severe injuries from Diamante's spike balls, Kairos' paternal love and desire for vengeance drove him to victory. In parallel, Frankie and Senor Pink engaged in what they deemed a manly battle, forsaking their powers in favor of pure fisticuffs. Their brutal exchange revealed Senor Pink's touching motivation. His infantile appearance stemmed from attempts to make his grief-stricken wife smile after their child's death, adding a layer of humanity to their seemingly absurd conflict. As both fighters earned each other's respect through their unwavering determination, Frankie ultimately prevailed while acknowledging the nobility in his opponent's dedication to his wife's happiness. Zoro's battle with Pika reached a critical point when the executive, seeing his allies' defeats, attempted a desperate gambit to target the weaker Riku and Usopp. Using Admiral Orlumbus's bowling throw to gain height, Zoro dismembered the massive stone form to expose Pika's true body. Though Pika demonstrated full-body armament haki, Zoro, recalling Mihawk's teachings, channeled his haki into his blades to defeat Pika with 3,000 Worlds technique. The defeated executives were returned to the palace, where Doflamingo planned to revive them using Princess Mancheri's healing tears. However, Leo of the Tontata tribe arrived in time, using his Stitch fruit powers to immobilize the enemies and rescue Mancheri. Luffy and Law finally confronted Doflamingo, who controlled Bellamy with strings as punishment for failing to kill Luffy in the Colosseum. Luffy's reluctance to harm Bellamy allowed Doflamingo to overwhelm both him and Law. The tyrant then revealed his own tragic past. As a child, his celestial dragon father renounced their divine status, subjecting the family to violent persecution from those who hated the world nobles. The young Doflamingo, at merely 10 years old, murdered his father in a failed attempt to reclaim their status, vowing to destroy the world the celestial dragons ruled. His possession of certain national treasures from Mariajois gave him leverage over the world nobles, explaining their cooperation in his fake resignation scheme. Doflamingo lamented his failure to secure the Opa Op fruit's ultimate power, the ability to grant eternal life at the cost of the user's own. He had originally intended this fruit for his brother Corazon rather than Law. This revelation led to the story of how, 16 years ago, a 10-year-old Law sought to join the Don Quixote family while dying from amber-lead syndrome. Law's origin story unveiled the tragedy of Flavance, the White City, a place of almost mythical beauty until the discovery of amber lead. This valuable mineral became the foundation of the country's prosperity, used in everything from daily products to advanced weapons, drawing fortune seekers from across the world. However, the world government had deliberately concealed their knowledge of the mineral's toxicity, prioritizing profit over people's lives. When the poisoning became impossible to hide and citizens began dying en masse, the government quarantined the population under the pretense of containing a contagious disease, systematically eliminating the inhabitants to bury their own complicity. Witnessing this genocide, including the death of his family, and understanding the government's calculated deception, transformed young Law, breeding in him a desire to destroy the world that perfectly mirrored Doflamingo's own hatred. Though accepted into the family, Law carried what appeared to be a death sentence, with only 3 years left to live. Thus began his life with the Don Quixote family, participating in their operations while carrying the weight of his tragic past and imminent death. When Corazon, Doflamingo's brother, discovered Law bore the name D, he immediately recognized the gravity of the situation and sought to remove the boy from the family. He revealed the ancient significance of D, the natural enemy of gods, explaining that if celestial dragons were considered divine, the D clan represented those destined to oppose them. Corazon, operating as a covert marine operative under Fleet Admiral Sengoku's orders to monitor the Don Quixote family, spent 6 grueling months taking Law to hospitals worldwide. Each facility rejected them until news of the Op fruit emerged as Law's sole hope for survival. After successfully stealing the fruit from black market dealers for Law, a gravely wounded Corazon instructed the boy to deliver critical intelligence about the Don Quixote family to nearby Marines. This plan backfired catastrophically when Law encountered Virgo, Doflamingo's deeply embedded agent within the Marines, who brutally beat both Law and Corazon before revealing the betrayal to Doflamingo. Though they managed a temporary escape, Doflamingo deployed his birdcage to prevent their flight. Recognizing their dire situation, Corazon made his final move, hiding Law in a chest and using his silent fruit powers to mask the boy's presence, before facing his inevitable death at his brother's hands. Doflamingo, misinterpreting a marine rescue of another child as Law's escape, departed, unknowingly allowing Law to survive. This sacrifice and betrayal fueled Law's years-long quest for vengeance, though his confrontation with Doflamingo proved his enduring power gap, resulting in the loss of his arm. Simultaneously, Luffy's confrontation with Bellamy reached an emotional crescendo. Despite Doflamingo's humiliating manipulation, Bellamy maintained his warrior's pride, seeking not victory, but an honorable defeat at Luffy's hands. Luffy's initial reluctance to strike gave way to profound respect for Bellamy's convictions, culminating in a defeat that mirrored their first encounter but carried vastly different emotional weight. The battle escalated as Luffy renewed his assault on Doflamingo, finding his attacks easily neutralized until Law's unexpected Gamma Knife and counter-shock combination struck true. However, Doflamingo's mastery over his string fruit allowed him to literally stitch his internal injuries together, demonstrating his extraordinary resilience. After Law successfully defeated Treble, despite the executive's desperate suicide attempt, the stage was set for Luffy's decisive one-on-one confrontation with Doflamingo. Finding himself overwhelmed by Doflamingo's power, Luffy unveiled his trump card, Gear 4th Boundman. This transformation dramatically shifted the battle's momentum, granting him enhanced strength and flight capabilities that initially overwhelmed Doflamingo. Though Luffy's Lion Bazooka appeared to secure victory, the persistent birdcage revealed Doflamingo's survival. The technique's severe drawback, 10 minutes of complete immobility, left Luffy vulnerable, requiring Guts and others to protect him, while citizens throughout Dressrosa desperately pushed against the accelerating birdcage. Upon regaining his strength, Luffy confronted Doflamingo for their final, devastating exchange. Their ultimate techniques clashed in a spectacular display of power. Luffy's King Kong gun against Doflamingo's awakened 16 holy bullets God thread. With the fate of Dressrosa hanging in the balance, Luffy's triumph finally shattered both Doflamingo's technique and his reign of terror, dispersing the birdcage and concluding the monumental defensive battle that had united the Straw Hat Pirates with Colosseum fighters against the Don Quixote family's tyranny. This victory marked not just the end of a battle, but the liberation of a nation from decades of manipulation and oppression. The Marine forces arrested the entire Don Quixote family, while Admiral Fujitora, representing the world government, made an unprecedented gesture by kneeling before King Riku to apologize for Doflamingo's crimes. This dramatic act, broadcast worldwide, enraged Fleet Admiral Akainu so much that he banned Fujitora from returning to Marine headquarters until he captured Straw Hat Luffy. By the third day, Fujitora began his pursuit, confronting the pirates while using his gravity powers to lift the city's rubble into the sky, threatening to destroy their escape vessels. His battle with Luffy took an unusual turn, as Luffy openly announced his moves while fighting, expressing his respect for Fujitora, who returned the sentiment, but remained bound by his position to pursue them. The crew eventually had to forcibly drag Luffy away toward the port. In gratitude for the Straw Hats' actions, various groups pledged their allegiance. Cavendish and Suleiman's Beautiful Pirates, 75 members, Bartolomeo Club, 56 members, Hapo Navy under Sai, 1,000 members, the Fighting Alliance including Ideo and his companions, 4 members, the Tonta Corps under Leo, 200 members, the Giant Warrior Pirates, 5 members, and the Yanta Maria Grand Fleet under Orlumbus, 4,300 members, totaling 5,600 followers. However, Luffy rejected the idea of commanding a grand fleet, stating that the Pirate King should embody freedom rather than greatness. Understanding his philosophy, these groups voluntarily formed the Straw Hat Grand Fleet, each vowing to grow stronger to aid Luffy's future endeavors. As bounty hunters gathered to target the Straw Hats, Fujitora used the hovering rubble to protect their escape, essentially providing them cover while maintaining his official stance. The crew departed aboard Bartolomeo's ship toward Zoo to reunite with Nami's group. Upon reaching Zoo, they discovered it existed atop a millennium-old elephant. Though Kinemon and Kanjuro fell during their ascent via Kanjuro's bizarre-drawn creatures, the rest of the group continued upward, finding a devastated, empty city. In the forest, they encountered the minks Wanda and Carrot, along with Law's crew, who led them to Nami's group, who had been warmly welcomed by the mink tribe. Nami recounted their journey from Dressrosa. After receiving Luffy's permission to fight back, they had successfully repelled Big Mom's pursuing ships. They had arrived at Zoo 10 days prior, only to find it already devastated. Their story was interrupted by the awakening of Duke Inuarashi, one of Zoo's 2 rulers alongside Master Nekomamushi. The 2 kings' intense rivalry had led to a unique system where they alternately ruled day and night. As they met with Duke Inuarashi, Wanda began explaining the events that had occurred before their arrival at Zoo. 17 days earlier, 7 days before Nami's group arrived at Zoo, Jack of the Disasters, one of Kaido's 3 top commanders with a 1 billion berry bounty, arrived seeking a samurai named Raizo. When the minks denied any knowledge of Raizo, violence erupted as Jack's forces began devastating the country. Duke Inuarashi quickly engaged Jack in battle, proving himself a match for the commander. As day turned to night, they implemented a rotation strategy, with Master Nekomamushi taking over the night shift. The fierce Nekomamushi matched Jack's strength equally, and this day-night rotation continued for 4 days. Despite Jack receiving naval reinforcements, the minks maintained their advantage until the 5th day, when Jack deployed Caesar's poison gas weapon. The gas rapidly spread throughout the country, incapacitating the entire mink population. Jack's forces then spent an entire day torturing the minks for information about Raizo. On the 6th day, 11 days before present, Jack departed to rescue Doflamingo after learning of his defeat by Luffy, inadvertently saving the minks through his absence. When Nami's group arrived the following day, they discovered the devastating effects of the poison gas. Recognizing Caesar's handiwork, they forced him to neutralize the gas and produce antidotes, saving the entire population. However, Sanji's absence revealed a darker turn of events. During their escape from Dressrosa, Big Mom's forces had learned of their destination. Pecoms, a native of Zoo, had shown mercy after learning of their aid to his people, but Capone Beige, another worst generation member with the castle fruit, had attacked him. Bej then presented Sanji with an invitation to Big Mom's tea party and wedding, revealing him as the third son of the Vinsmoke family, betrothed to Big Mom's 35th daughter, Pudding. Threatened with the lives of his mentor Zeph and the Barati staff, Sanji departed with Bej and Caesar to protect both his old and new families. From the injured Pecoms, they learned that Sanji's father led Germa 66, a powerful military organization, and that the marriage represented a political alliance, ensuring Sanji would never return to the Straw Hats. Luffy, refusing to accept this, resolved to rescue Sanji once Pecoms recovered. Meanwhile, Frankie, Robin, and Brook attempted to prevent Kinemon and Kanjuro from entering Zoo, knowing the samurai's indirect role in its devastation, but fell asleep at their post. When the samurai's presence became known, the minks surprisingly knelt before them, revealing Raizo's safety. The minks had nearly faced extinction protecting this secret, moving the Straw Hats deeply. The truth emerged that both Duke Inuarashi and Master Nekomamushi served as retainers to the Kozuki clan, as did Kinemon and Kanjuro. Momonosuke was revealed as the son of Kozuki Oden, making him the legitimate heir of Kuri as Kozuki Momonosuke. Upon reaching Raizo's hiding place, Robin made a crucial discovery, a red poneglyph, revealed to be one of 4 road poneglyphs. These ancient stones, when brought together, form intersecting lines pointing to Laugh-Tale, the legendary final island that only the Pirate King had reached. With one stone's location still a mystery and 2 others closely guarded by Emperors Big Mom and Kaido, the mission to rescue Sanji presented an unexpected opportunity to infiltrate Big Mom's territory and copy her road poneglyph. Kinemon shared a profound secret with the group. The Kozuki clan were the original creators of the poneglyphs 800 years ago, maintaining the sacred knowledge of reading and writing these stones through generations. This tradition ended with Momonosuke's generation, when his father, Kozuki Oden, was executed by the combined forces of Kaido and Wano's shogunate. Oden's execution stemmed from his journey to Laugh-Tale alongside Gol D. Roger, where he gained knowledge so dangerous it led to his death. This revelation connected directly to the Void Century, a 100-year period of history systematically erased by the world government upon its formation. For 800 years since, the world government has violently suppressed any attempt to uncover these lost years, as demonstrated by the destruction of Ohara and its scholars, including Robin's mentors, who dared to investigate these forbidden mysteries. The samurai retainers, while lacking direct knowledge of these world-shaking secrets, had maintained their resistance not just for revenge, but to fulfill Oden's dying wish to open Wano's borders. Moved by their dedication, Luffy pledged his full support, forming a powerful alliance between ninja, pirates, minks, and samurai. Their strategic discussion was dramatically interrupted by violent tremors as Jack returned, attempting to kill Zunesha, the colossal elephant that had carried Zoo for a millennium. In a surprising development, both Luffy and Momonosuke heard Zunesha's voice, the same mysterious voice once heard by Oden and Roger. The elephant revealed its ancient punishment, condemned to walk eternally, forbidden from taking any action without explicit orders. When Jack launched his attack, Zunesha sought permission from Momonosuke, the rightful heir of Wano, to defend itself. Upon receiving the young lord's command, Zunesha unleashed its tremendous power, devastating Jack's fleet with its massive trunk. Though Jack survived thanks to his fishman heritage, allowing him to breathe underwater, his attack was thoroughly repelled. The alliance divided into 4 groups. Nekomamushi would search for Marco, former Whitebeard Pirates commander. Momonosuke and Inuarashi would defend Zoo. Luffy's group would rescue Sanji, and the remainder would prepare in Wano. Luffy's team, including Nami, Chopper, Brook, Pedro, Carrot, and the injured Pecoms, headed for Big Mom's Tatoland. During their journey, Luffy nearly died from eating poisonous fish, until Sanji's siblings, Reiju and Yonji, appeared. Reiju saved Luffy by sucking out the poison with a kiss, inadvertently taking his first kiss. As they departed, Pecoms explained Tatoland's structure. 34 islands surrounding Whole Cake Island, each governed by a minister, collectively forming Big Mom's expansive territory. The Straw Hat crew arrived at Cocoa Island's Chocolate Town, a remarkable place where every structure was crafted entirely from chocolate. Luffy and Chopper's natural enthusiasm got the better of them as they began devouring buildings, nearly resulting in their arrest until a young woman named Pudding intervened. She revealed herself as Sanji's arranged fiancé, but rather than showing hostility, she displayed a gentle, understanding nature that seemed to contradict their expectations of Big Mom's family. Pudding not only offered to assist in Sanji's rescue, but also provided detailed intelligence about secret routes to Whole Cake Island, promising to bring Sanji to a designated meeting point the following day. On Whole Cake Island itself, a crisis unfolded as Big Mom succumbed to one of her infamous food cravings, specifically for a caramel cream puff tower. Her food illness triggered a terrifying rampage through the capital, during which she lost all reason and recognition, even using her soul fruit powers to kill her own son. The situation was only diffused by Jinbei's timely arrival with the desired dessert. However, when Jinbei attempted to formally withdraw from Big Mom's crew, she demanded he participate in a rigged roulette wheel ceremony that would sacrifice his former crew members' lives, forcing him to temporarily abandon his request. Luffy's group finally reached Whole Cake Island, splitting into two teams. Brook and Pedro would search for the road poneglyph, while the others pursued what appeared to be Sanji. This pursuit led them into an elaborate trap in the seducing woods, where they encountered a perfect duplicate of Luffy himself. The duplicate was revealed to be Charlotte Brûlé, Big Mom's daughter and wielder of the Mirror fruit, specifically tasked with capturing the intruders. She successfully captured Carrot and Chopper, though Nami managed to escape and rejoin the real Luffy. During their escape, they encountered a bizarre sight. Pound, Big Mom's 25th husband, buried waist-deep in the ground. He revealed the dark foundation of Tatoland's society. Citizens regularly sacrificed portions of their lifespans as payment to reside there. Through Big Mom's soul fruit powers, these soul fragments were redistributed throughout the country, creating homies, animated objects and natural elements infused with human souls. This system, combined with Brûlé's ability to create mirror world duplicates and transform animals into copies of their allies, gave Big Mom's forces an overwhelming home field advantage. The situation intensified with the arrival of Charlotte Cracker, one of Big Mom's 3 sweet commanders and the Minister of Biscuit, boasting an 860 million berry bounty. His true power lay in his biscuit fruit ability, which allowed him to create endless waves of incredibly hard biscuit armor and soldiers. The battle between Luffy and Cracker lasted from nightfall until dawn, pushing Luffy to his limits and exhausting his Gear 4th form. In a brilliant tactical move, Nami utilized Big Mom's Vivre card, which she had received from Lola, to command the homies, buying Luffy crucial recovery time. She then employed her weather manipulation abilities to soften Cracker's biscuit soldiers with rain, allowing Luffy to literally eat away at Cracker's defenses. The battle culminated in an explosive finale where Luffy, using his new Tank Man form, launched Cracker through multiple buildings across Sweet City, finally defeating the seemingly invincible commander. Simultaneously, a tense confrontation occurred between Big Mom and Caesar Clown regarding his research into gigantification. The Emperor had invested massive resources into his studies, unaware that he had been systematically deceiving her while under Doflamingo's protection. Now trapped in her state-of-the-art laboratory with the threat of execution looming over him, Caesar frantically sought an escape from his predicament, knowing full well that his promised research into human gigantification was fundamentally impossible to complete within her demanded time frame. Germa 66, led by the Vinsmoke family, arrived at Whole Cake Island, a unique mobile nation without fixed territory, comprised of dozens of interconnected ships. This kingdom, once the conquerors of the North Blue, maintained an almost exclusively male population dedicated to rigorous daily military training. Sanji's reunion with his father, Judge, revealed their deeply troubled history. During their confrontation, Judge's dishonorable use of soldiers as human shields secured his victory over Sanji. The subsequent tour of Germa's clone soldier facility exposed Judge's scientific background. He had once worked alongside Dr. Vegapunk before the latter's government recruitment. Judge had continued their research independently, discovering lineage factors used to clone Germa's massive army, a revelation that disgusted Sanji. The arrival of his brothers Ichiji and Niji led to another beating, reminiscent of their childhood torment. Through flashbacks, we learned that while his siblings were modified into superhuman beings, Sanji remained ordinary, failing to meet even the baseline expectations for their enhanced family. His only passion, cooking, was deemed unworthy of their royal status, leading Judge to imprison him and fake his death. Despite the confinement, his brothers continued their abuse until Reiju, his sister, facilitated his escape, urging him to find true companions and never return. Judge's parting words, expressing shame at having Sanji as a son, cemented Sanji's rejection of his birth family. Now, with the Bharati and Zeph held hostage, Sanji endured another beating from his brothers without resistance. Despite his suffering, he accepted the marriage to protect both his mentor and the Straw Hats. However, when Luffy arrived during the Vinesmoke family's procession to Big Mom's castle, Sanji delivered a shocking kick that sent him flying. Though Sanji verbally and physically attacked Luffy, his former captain refused to dodge or counterattack. After Sanji's devastating Konkasei technique finally downed Luffy, he departed with tears streaming down his face while Luffy declared he would wait there without eating until Sanji returned. At the castle, Pudding's apparent kindness and understanding provided Sanji comfort in his isolation. Having lost both family and crew, he resolved to embrace marriage with this seemingly gentle woman as his salvation. Meanwhile, Luffy and Nami faced Big Mom's revenge army, thousands of chess soldiers led by several of her children. Despite their fierce resistance, they were overwhelmed and imprisoned in the inescapable Book Prison. Simultaneously, Carrot and Chopper, trapped in Brulee's mirror world, managed to overpower and capture her. Discovering that the mirror world connected to every mirror in Tatoland, and that Brulee's power allowed passage through them, they began searching for their companions throughout this parallel dimension. Brook and Pedro's infiltration of Big Mom's castle proceeded with a carefully coordinated strategy. Pedro would create a dramatic diversion to draw away the guards while Brook slipped into the heavily fortified treasure room. After dispatching the remaining guards, Brook meticulously copied all 3 poneglyphs, a crucial task that could unlock the path to Laugh-Tale. However, his mission was interrupted by Big Mom herself, who, rather than showing anger, displayed an unsettling fascination with Brook's skeletal form. Despite employing his Soul King abilities and fighting with everything he had, Brook proved no match for an emperor's overwhelming power. Instead of execution, he faced a peculiar fate, becoming the newest addition to Big Mom's macabre collection of rare creatures. Pedro's confrontation with Baron Tamago unveiled a tragic history from 5 years prior. During a previous infiltration attempt with his comrades to steal the poneglyph information, Pedro had taken Tamago's eye but paid a devastating price. Big Mom had initially sentenced him to lose 70 years of his lifespan as punishment, though PCOM's intervention reduced this to 50 years, along with the loss of his own eye. Now returning to this place of painful memories, Pedro revealed his deeper motivation. He believed the Straw Hats to be the prophesied guides to the world's dawn, and his actions were repayment for their role in saving Zoo. His battle concluded with a desperate gambit, detonating explosives that allowed Chopper's group to extract him through the mirror world. The situation took a dark turn when Pudding visited Luffy and Nami in prison, revealing her true nature with chilling casualness. The wedding, she explained, was an elaborate trap designed to murder the entire Vinesmoke family and acquire their advanced technology. Her seemingly kind personality had been a carefully crafted performance, making the revelation of her true sadistic nature all the more shocking to Luffy. After Jinbe's timely rescue through burning down the Book Prison, Luffy, despite knowing the truth, returned to his promised spot to wait for Sanji, demonstrating his unwavering faith in his crew member. Sanji's world shattered when he accidentally witnessed Pudding's interaction with his sister Reiju. Pudding's revelation of her third eye, marking her as a member of the Three-Eye tribe, accompanied her cruel mockery of Sanji's trusting nature and her detailed plans for his execution at the altar. Using her memory fruit powers, she casually altered Reiju's memories, all while Sanji watched helplessly from hiding. This led to a profound conversation with Reiju, who revealed the heartbreaking truth about their mother's sacrifice. During their childhood modifications, their mother had secretly consumed dangerous drugs to prevent the genetic alterations from eliminating Sanji's humanity. While his brothers were transformed into emotionless warriors, her intervention preserved Sanji's capacity for compassion and feeling, though it ultimately cost her life. Reiju, accepting the karmic justice of their family's impending doom, encouraged Sanji to return to his true family, the Straw Hats, revealing that the threats against Zeph had come from their own family, not Big Mom. The emotional climax came when Sanji finally returned to Luffy, who had kept his promise to wait without food. Their reunion balanced raw emotion with physical conflict, Luffy's punch serving as both punishment and acceptance. Their reconciliation set the stage for a new plan, saving the Vinsmoke family while preventing the wedding. Meanwhile, the Mirror World operations proved successful beyond expectations. Chopper's group orchestrated a daring rescue of Brook from Big Mom's personal quarters during her sleep, discovering that Brook had brilliantly hidden the poneglyph copies within his own skull. This successful intelligence gathering marked a crucial victory in their infiltration of Tato Land, providing vital information for their future journey to Laugh Tale, while demonstrating the crew's growing capability to operate against Emperor-level threats. Through shattered mirror fragments, the crew established a critical communication network with Luffy and Sanji, enabling them to share vital intelligence. Jinbe, assessing their limited manpower against Big Mom's forces, proposed an alliance with Capone Bej, revealing that the Fire Tank Pirates' captain had been plotting Big Mom's assassination during the wedding ceremony. This unexpected convergence of interests led them to Bej's hideout, where they encountered Chiffon, the twin sister of their former ally Lola, and now Beiji's wife. Chiffon's revelation of Big Mom's history with the Giants exposed a deep-rooted conflict. Big Mom had long sought to reconcile with the Giant race, attempting to arrange a political marriage alliance. However, Lola's escape from this arranged marriage had not only thwarted these plans, but triggered a cascade of events that worsened relations when Big Mom tried to substitute Chiffon in her sister's place. The Giants' discovery of this deception had permanently poisoned any possibility of alliance, leading to Big Mom's obsessive pursuit of artificial gigantification research and her subsequent abuse of Chiffon, whom she punished for resembling the daughter who had defied her. The assassination plan incorporated Caesar's desperate situation. Unable to produce the gigantification results Big Mom demanded, the scientist had aligned himself with Beiji's plot as his only escape route. Beiji's strategy revealed a remarkable weakness in Big Mom's seemingly impenetrable defense: her psychological vulnerability to Mother Carmel's portrait. When this image was damaged, Big Mom would enter a state of complete psychological breakdown, unconsciously releasing such powerful conqueror's haki that it incapacitated everyone in her vicinity. During these episodes, she would fall to her knees in anguish, creating a brief window of vulnerability in her otherwise invincible defenses. The wedding day arrived with unprecedented grandeur, drawing notorious figures from throughout the underworld. The most significant arrival was Charlotte Katakuri, Big Mom's most formidable son, whose billion-berry bounty reflected his fearsome reputation. His mastery of the mochi fruit was enhanced by his extraordinarily developed observation haki, which allowed him to perceive immediate future events, making him a particularly dangerous obstacle to their carefully laid plans. The ceremony's pivotal moment came when Pudding revealed her third eye to execute Sanji. However, the plan took an unexpected turn when Sanji's genuine admiration for her third eye, a feature that had brought her nothing but persecution and ridicule throughout her life, struck a profound chord. His sincere compliment pierced through the malevolent persona she had cultivated as a defense mechanism, revealing her true nature as a kind-hearted individual who had been shaped by trauma and rejection. This moment of genuine human connection caused her to hesitate, threatening to unravel the carefully orchestrated assassination plot. Katakuri, perceiving Pudding's hesitation through his future sight, attempted to take matters into his own hands, only to find his intervention skillfully evaded by Sanji's observation and agility. Luffy seized this moment of chaos to burst from within the wedding cake, employing Brulee's mirror powers to create multiple duplicates of himself, maximizing the confusion. However, Katakuri's foresight allowed him to prevent the critical destruction of Mother Carmel's portrait. In this moment of escalating chaos, Jinbe chose to make his stand, officially announcing his departure from Big Mom's crew. When she attempted to extract his soul, an ability that relied on the victim's fear, Jinbe delivered a declaration that would resonate throughout the pirate world. As a future crew member of the Pirate King, he stood beyond the reach of an emperor's intimidation. This bold statement, backed by his absolute fearlessness, rendered Big Mom's soul-stealing power completely ineffective, marking a significant challenge to her authority and adding another layer to the wedding's mounting chaos. In the midst of the escalating chaos, Brook, having carefully disguised himself, managed to destroy Mother Carmel's portrait. However, the plan's crucial element failed to materialize. Big Mom's emotional response was diluted by multiple triggers, including the destruction of her precious wedding cake. Rather than focusing her trauma on a single point as planned, her anger scattered across various targets, preventing the devastating breakdown they had anticipated. As Luffy's group found themselves increasingly pressured by Big Mom's numerous children, Luffy made the desperate decision to force Big Mom to confront the shattered portrait again. This action triggered a cascade of memories reaching back a century, when Mother Carmel, known throughout the world as the Holy Mother, had earned fame by saving giant pirates from marine capture in Elbaf. She established the Lamb's House Orphanage, which became a symbol of hope and unity between humans and giants. However, 37 years later, this facade of peace was disrupted by the arrival of a 5-year-old Charlotte Linlin. Exiled from her homeland due to her uncontrollable strength and massive size, Linlin found sanctuary under Carmel's care. The peaceful coexistence shattered during a sacred fasting ritual when Linlin's severe food craving disorder drove her to devastate half of Elbaf and kill a giant elder. Only Carmel's intervention with her soul fruit powers could halt the rampage, though this incident permanently severed relations between Linlin and the giant race. The truth behind Carmel's benevolent image revealed a far more sinister reality. She operated as a sophisticated child trafficker in collaboration with the Marines, identifying and selling promising children to the world government. Recognizing Linlin's immense potential, Carmel orchestrated an elaborate birthday celebration as a prelude to selling her. During this feast, young Linlin consumed endless caramel cream puffs through tears of joy, unaware of her impending fate. When her emotional eating binge finally ended, she discovered Carmel and all the children had vanished, leaving behind only their clothes. A mysterious incident witnessed by Streusen, a cook fruit user capable of transforming any matter into food. Streusen's fateful meeting with Linlin, who had somehow inherited Carmel's soul fruit powers, marked the beginning of what would become the Big Mom Pirates. Together, they pursued a twisted version of Carmel's supposed dream of racial equality, though built on foundations of fear and power rather than genuine understanding. The present-day destruction of Carmel's portrait finally triggered Big Mom's catastrophic screaming fit, but its effectiveness proved both a blessing and a curse. Her cries were so devastatingly powerful, they not only destroyed Beige's specialized weapons but also shattered Caesar's escape mirrors, trapping the Assassination Alliance in an increasingly desperate situation. Big Mom's children seized this opportunity to launch their counterattack, with the Vinsmoke family falling under Perospero's candy restraints. Judge, witnessing his North Blue conquest dreams crumble, broke down in tears while his emotionally modified sons faced death with disturbing smiles, a piercing illustration of how his scientific ambitions had stripped away their humanity. Sanji's timely intervention saved his biological family, who demonstrated their tactical value by donning their raid suits to help the Alliance reach Beige's fortress form. However, the temporary refuge proved inadequate when Big Mom regained consciousness. Her relentless attacks began transferring physical damage to Beige himself through his castle transformation, creating an increasingly desperate situation as their safe haven became a potential tomb. In this critical moment, the Vinsmoke family, perhaps seeking redemption or simply acknowledging their role in the crisis, volunteered to create a diversion, offering the others a chance to escape while facing Big Mom's wrath themselves. The escape plan called for Caesar to fly away with Beige in his human form, carrying everyone within Beige's body. However, the situation complicated when Reiju faced mortal danger, prompting both Luffy and Sanji to leap to her rescue. Luffy engaged Big Mom in Gear 4th but found himself completely unable to harm her. As the Alliance faced imminent defeat, the chaos escalated when the Underworld's King of Loans, Dufeld, attempted to steal a mysterious box, only to be shot by CP0's Stussy in disguise. The box's fall triggered an explosive chain reaction that tilted and collapsed the entire Whole Cake Chateau. This chaos provided an escape opportunity for the Vinsmokes, Caesar, and Beige, while Big Mom and her children plummeted with the castle. Head chef Streusen saved the situation by transforming the entire structure into cream cake, cushioning everyone's fall. Though Luffy's group temporarily escaped, they remained trapped within Tato Land, requiring a complete exodus for true safety. The situation worsened when Big Mom's food craving disorder triggered, prompting Prospero to fabricate a story about the Straw Hats stealing a backup wedding cake. Pursuing them atop Zeus, Big Mom quickly caught up until Nami cleverly fed Zeus her weather egg, creating a massive thundercloud. However, even Nami's powerful lightning attack proved ineffective against Big Mom's incredible durability. Meanwhile, Pudding, seeking to save both her country and Sanji, recruited Chiffon to help recreate the wedding cake. She then approached Sanji, proposing they bake together to distract Big Mom and enable the crew's escape. Their cake-making mission began on Cacao Island while the others fled toward the Sunny, only to find it captured by Prospero and Katakuri. In a selfless act, Pedro attempted to take Prospero with him in a suicide attack, creating an opening for the crew's escape via coup de burst. Luffy dragged Katakuri into the mirror world, destroying the mirror connection to the Sunny, and promising to meet his crew at Cacao Island in 10 hours after defeating him. The battle against Katakuri revealed the Sweet Commander's overwhelming superiority in all aspects: strength, speed, haki, and his advanced observation abilities that let him see the future. After seemingly defeating Luffy with his awakened Mochi Mochi powers, Katakuri retreated to indulge in donuts, only to have his perfect image shattered when Luffy discovered him lying down eating. This revelation briefly disrupted Katakuri's concentration, allowing Luffy to gain temporary advantage, though Katakuri soon regained control and dominated even Luffy's Gear 4th form, forcing Luffy into a desperate 10-minute evasion while his power recharged. While Sanji and Pudding completed the intricate cake base, their carefully planned rendezvous with Big was violently interrupted by Charlotte Oven, a formidable heat fruit user and one of Big Mom's more aggressive sons. Oven, seizing Chiffon as hostage, attempted to force Bege's surrender by threatening his wife. Bege, displaying unexpected depth of character, abandoned tactical caution to launch a daring rescue, penetrating enemy lines to confront Oven directly. This allowed Sanji to secure the precious cake base, though Oven's subsequent rage led him to heat the surrounding ocean to dangerous levels. The situation took a tragic turn when Pound, finally seeing his daughter Chiffon and unknown grandchild for the first time, made the ultimate sacrifice to ensure their escape. His interference with Oven proved fatal, but bought crucial seconds for his family's survival. Aboard Bege's ship, Sanji proceeded to complete the cake's intricate decoration, each layer crafted with professional precision. On the Sunny's front, Prospero had survived Pedro's sacrifice, using his candy powers to facilitate Big Mom's relentless pursuit. When Big Mom summoned massive waves threatening to swallow the ship whole, Jinbe revealed his true mastery as a helmsman. His exceptional understanding of ocean currents and expert sail manipulation guided them through the crisis, only to face Daifuku's imposing blockade. At this critical moment, Carrot unleashed her Sulong transformation under the full moon, a devastating form unique to the mink tribe that dramatically enhanced her speed and power while slowly consuming her life force. Her rampage cleared their path before Brook managed to rescue her from the transformation's lethal effects. The situation reached its peak of danger when Big Mom herself boarded the Sunny. In this moment of crisis, Jinbe demonstrated why he deserved to be called a former warlord, launching a powerful attack that actually managed to repel Big Mom while declaring his absolute commitment to protecting the ship Luffy had entrusted to him. Nami's clever manipulation of Zeus through weather eggs not only provided crucial defense, but also resulted in her gaining control over Big Mom's homie, a significant tactical advantage. The parallel romance subplot reached its bittersweet conclusion as Sanji and Pudding shared their final moments together. Their farewell kiss, genuine despite the circumstances, was followed by Pudding's heartbreaking decision to extract Sanji's memories using her memory fruit powers. Her retreat to cry alone highlighted the tragic nature of their relationship, one that had evolved from calculated deception to genuine affection, only to be rendered impossible by their circumstances. Meanwhile, the mirror world battle between Luffy and Katakuri reached new heights of intensity. Though Katakuri maintained his overwhelming advantage in combat ability, the fight served as a crucible for Luffy's growth, his observation haki gradually evolving to occasionally glimpse the future as Katakuri did. The battle took an unexpected turn when Flomp's interference wounded Luffy, prompting Katakuri to demonstrate his strong sense of honor by deliberately wounding himself with his trident to maintain battle equality. This action exposed his carefully hidden mouth, revealing a lifetime of shame that had driven him to maintain a perfect image. The battle culminated in Luffy unveiling Snake Man, an advanced application of Gear 4th optimized for speed and precision. Their final exchange left both fighters pushed to their absolute limits. But Katakuri's question about Luffy's eventual return to challenge Big Mom and Luffy's unwavering declaration of becoming Pirate King transformed their conflict into mutual respect. Katakuri's deliberate backward fall acknowledged not just defeat, but recognition of Luffy's potential. Luffy's final gesture of covering Katakuri's mouth with his hat demonstrated their shared understanding and respect, marking this not just as a physical victory, but a profound moment of character development for both fighters. As Luffy emerged from his grueling battle in the Mirror World, Peckhams appeared, determined to honor his sworn brother Pedro's final wish by ensuring Luffy's escape. Despite being surrounded by Big Mom's forces, the situation evolved when Sanji attempted a daring rescue, though initially blocked by enemy forces. The tide turned with the dramatic arrival of Germa 66, as the three Vinsmoke siblings demonstrated their enhanced abilities by carving a path through the enemy forces, enabling both Luffy and Sanji to successfully return to the Sunny. While the Sunny continued its desperate flight, the parallel storyline with Big Mom reached its climax as she finally consumed the meticulously crafted cake aboard Beige's ship. Though the cake's exceptional quality restored her sanity, the respite proved temporary as she immediately resumed pursuit of the Straw Hats, forcing Beige to sacrifice his ship as a diversionary tactic. As the Straw Hats found themselves completely surrounded by Big Mom's forces with seemingly no escape route, salvation arrived in the form of the Sun Pirates and Watatsumi, their timely intervention creating a crucial pathway through the enemy blockade. The Fishmen's noble sacrifice, forming a human shield between the Straw Hats and Big Mom's forces, prompted Jinbei to make the difficult decision to remain behind with his former crew. His promise to rejoin Luffy in Wano carried the weight of uncertainty, but demonstrated the deep bonds of loyalty that had formed. The Straw Hats' escape through the current created by their Fishmen allies marked both victory and sacrifice. They had secured their objectives of obtaining the poneglyph copies and rescuing Sanji, but at a tremendous cost to their allies. The aftermath revealed interesting character developments, particularly when Luffy discovered the raid suit gifted to Sanji by the Vinsmokes. Sanji's vehement rejection of this technological advantage highlighted his ongoing struggle with his family legacy, though the narrative hinted at potential future acceptance. Meanwhile, news of Luffy's audacious actions in Big Mom's territory spread rapidly across the world, shocking many with his unprecedented challenge to an emperor's authority. The newspaper's designation of him as the fifth emperor and his bounty increased to 1.5 billion berries reflected the world's changing perception of his threat level. This development triggered significant reactions from both Big Mom and Kaido, with Big Mom declaring her intention to pursue Luffy to Wano, setting up a potentially catastrophic confluence of two emperors. The Marines, though aware of this looming crisis, found themselves constrained by the approaching reverie, unable to intervene in what could become a pivotal clash of powers. The gathering of world royalty at Marijois for the reverie brought together various allies of the Straw Hats, including Vivi, Rebecca, and Shirahoshi, their presence a testament to Luffy's far-reaching influence. The seemingly peaceful assembly was shattered when Celestial Dragon Charlos, bearing a grudge from his previous encounter with Luffy, attempted to enslave Shirahoshi. This crisis was unexpectedly resolved by the intervention of Mjosgard, a reformed celestial dragon whose experience with Queen Otohime had transformed his worldview, now serving as Shirahoshi's protector. During these events, several significant developments occurred simultaneously. The Five Elders' mysterious meeting with red-haired Shanks regarding an unnamed pirate. The revolutionaries, led by Sabo, witnessing the enslaved former warlord Bartholomew Kuma, their determination to disrupt the reverie strengthened by this sight. And most intriguingly, the appearance of the mysterious Im, examining Luffy's wanted poster before a giant straw hat hidden in Marijoise's depths. The narrative reached its climax with Im's appearance on the empty throne, a seat supposedly never occupied, before the submissive Five Elders, revealing the true power structure behind the world government. The Five Elders' deference to Im's decision regarding which light to extinguish from the world, whether Luffy, Shirahoshi, Vivi, or Blackbeard, left hanging a crucial question about the future direction of the world and the true nature of the power controlling it from the shadows. As the Straw Hats arrived in Wano's treacherous waters, they faced their first challenge, a massive waterfall guarded by violent currents. Using the legendary giant koi fish to attempt the climb, mirroring an ancient legend, they briefly succeeded before a massive whirlpool scattered the crew, leaving Luffy alone on an unknown shore. His solitude was quickly interrupted by the sight of Kaido's beast pirates, pursuing a young girl named Tama and her dog companion, Komachio. After executing a rapid rescue, Luffy witnessed Tama's unique ability, creating and using dango from her cheek to tame animals, a power clearly referencing the beloved Japanese folk hero Momotaro and his animal companions. Tama's gratitude took a heartbreaking form when she offered Luffy her precious white rice while subsisting on polluted river water herself, leading to her poisoning. The arrival of her master, the swordsmith Tenguyama Hitetsu, revealed the harsh reality of Wano under Kaido's rule. White rice was a luxury reserved only for birthdays, while industrial pollution from Kaido's factories had contaminated the water supply throughout the region. The stark contrast between the flourishing capital under Shogun Orochi and the desperate conditions elsewhere painted a clear picture of Wano's suffering. Tama's determination to remain in such conditions stemmed from a promise to Ace, who had visited 4 years earlier and left an indelible impression on her young life. The other Straw Hat members had already infiltrated Wano under various guises, with Zoro's situation becoming particularly complicated. Accused of being a murderous criminal by the magistrate Bakura, who coveted his legendary sword Shusui, Zoro was forced to fight his way to freedom, becoming a wanted man throughout the country. His path crossed with a tea house owner named Otsuru, whom he saved from beast pirates, leading to his fateful reunion with Luffy during the rescue. Their reunion was interrupted by the arrival of Basil Hawkins, formerly their peer among the Worst Generation, now serving as a headliner in Kaido's forces. Hawkins's straw fruit demonstrated its formidable power, allowing him to transfer damage to his subordinates while summoning massive straw constructs. Though Zoro's swordsmanship proved superior, Hawkins made the calculated decision to allow their escape, suggesting hidden motives. At Otsuru's tea house, they not only treated Tama's poisoning, but also celebrated her birthday with traditional red bean soup, creating a moment of joy in the midst of oppression. This peace was shattered by a gifter with bat powers who overheard their conversation about Wano's situation, though Zoro quickly neutralized this threat. However, the moment of crisis escalated when another gifter, Speed, whose gazelle abilities granted her incredible velocity, captured Tama and raced toward Bakura Town. The rescue attempt, mounted on Komachio and accompanied by Otsuru's servant Okiku, led to an encounter with Urashima, a privileged sumo wrestler whose unwanted advances toward Okiku ended with her symbolically cutting his top knot, a serious affront to his status. Luffy's defense of Okiku, using sumo techniques against Urashima, created a commotion that drew the attention of Hold'em, a more fearsome gifter with a lion literally embedded in his belly. Despite Okiku's urgent warnings about entering Jack's territory, Luffy seized the opportunity to rescue Tama when Speed returned with supplies from the Paradise Farm. The situation reached its climax when Luffy, enraged by the visible signs of abuse on Tama's face, delivered a powerful punch that instantly incapacitated Hold'em. Meanwhile, Zoro and Komachio executed a perfectly timed raid on the food transport ship. In a brilliant tactical move, Luffy used Tama's dango ability to bring Speed herself under their control, turning an enemy into an ally and securing their escape with both Tama and the stolen supplies, dealing a significant blow to Kaido's forces while providing hope to Wano's suffering citizens. When Law arrived at Bakura Town responding to the commotion, he encountered Hawkins, leading to a brief standoff before they witnessed Luffy's group escaping. Law seized this opportunity to join their retreat, with Hawkins mysteriously choosing not to pursue. Back in the impoverished district, Luffy distributed the clean food supplies and made a heartfelt promise to Tama. Before leaving, they would transform Wano into a country where she could eat her fill every day. Law then guided Luffy and Zoro to Oden's ruins, where they reunited with Kinemon, Nami, Sanji, and others. Okiku revealed herself as another of Oden's retainers, leading Kinemon to share their full history. He recounted how Wano was once ruled by the Kazuki clan, with Oden being sent to govern the lawless Kuri region. Oden's leadership united even the fiercest outlaws, including Ashura Doji, transforming Kuri into a prosperous domain and earning him the title of daimyo from his father, Kozuki Sukiyaki. However, after Odin's adventures with Whitebeard and Roger, he returned to find Wano under Orochi and Kaido's control, ultimately leading to his execution. His retainers rushed to Odin Castle, only to find it burned. There, they discovered Odin's children, Momonosuke and Hiyori, along with his wife, Lady Toki, a time fruit user who had traveled from the distant past, finding her destiny with Odin. Rather than flee, Toki used her powers to send the retainers and Momonosuke 20 years into the future, entrusting them with Wano's salvation. Kinemon, Kanjuro, Raizo, Okiku, and Momonosuke suddenly found themselves in a drastically changed Wano. They began preparations to overthrow Orochi and Kaido, leaving Okiku to gather intelligence while others sailed to Zoo seeking the Mink leader's support. Their journey proved treacherous. Separated from Raizo, nearly dying at sea, pursued by Doflamingo in Dressrosa, and further separated when Momonosuke boarded a mystery ship. Kinemon nearly perished at Punk Hazard before meeting the Straw Hats, marking a turning point in their fortunes. Though Odin's death occurred 20 years ago, for these time travelers, the wound remained fresh, as if only months had passed. Kinemon's plan targeted the Fire Festival 2 weeks hence, when Orochi's officials and the Beast Pirates would be celebrating on Onigashima. He distributed coded messages to those bearing the Crescent Moon Rebellion tattoo on their left ankles, designating the battle's time and location at Port Takaj. The Straw Hats had already begun preparations. Frankie approached Kaido's former architect for building plans. Robin infiltrated as a geisha to gather intelligence on Orochi. Brook's abilities could secure food supplies from the capital. Nami's weather techniques rivaled ninja arts, and Sanji's culinary skills proved perfect for recruiting. Their guide, the true ninja shinobi, was introduced, and they prioritized locating 3 missing retainers, Kawamatsu, Denjiro, and Ashura Doji, whose support could prove crucial to their uprising's success. In the impoverished district, the food Luffy had secured was stolen by the bandit leader Shutenmaru. When Jack arrived on the scene, Shutenmaru engaged him in battle, surprisingly managing to wound Jack and demonstrating unexpected combat prowess. However, the situation dramatically escalated with the appearance of a massive dragon in the sky, Kaido in his transformed state. Luffy, witnessing Kaido's arrival from Odin Castle, rushed toward the district. There, a drunken Kaido questioned Shutenmaru about the whereabouts of Luffy's group, showing unusual restraint. Hawkins, aware that the town would face destruction if he didn't satisfy Kaido's inquiry, fabricated a story directing him to Odin Castle. Acting on this misinformation, Kaido launched a devastating attack that reduced the castle to rubble. Watching his companion's supposed location destroyed, Luffy could only pray for their safety while launching himself at Kaido in a rage. His fury at Kaido's actions and concern for his potentially dead companions fueled his assault. Using Gear 4th Bound Man, Luffy unleashed his Kong organ attack, managing to force Kaido back into his human form. However, these attacks proved ineffective against Kaido's incredible durability, serving only to sober him up. With newfound clarity, Kaido dispatched Luffy with a single Thunder Bagua strike. Luffy found himself imprisoned alongside Kid, another supernova who had previously challenged and fallen to Kaido. Meanwhile, at Odin Castle, the crew had survived thanks to Shinobi's ninja techniques. News of Luffy's defeat spread rapidly throughout Wano, shocking his companions and dealing a severe blow to their plans to overthrow Kaido. On Luffy's first day of imprisonment, he experienced the harsh labor conditions common to Udon's prisoners, where the meager reward system offered just 1 dango for every 5 massive stones moved. Just as Luffy was about to enjoy his hard-earned treat, Kid thundered past carrying an enormous boulder, accidentally knocking away and crushing Luffy's only dango. Seeing this as a challenge, Luffy's competitive spirit ignited. By that afternoon, the quarry had gained a new stone-moving maniac. Luffy and Kid transformed into the quarry's most exceptional workers, becoming unlikely partners in their stone-moving rivalry. Despite wearing sea prism stone shackles that drained their powers, the two continued their relentless competition, moving hundreds of massive rocks without showing any signs of fatigue. When they finally slammed their towering stack of dango vouchers on the counter, the guard in charge of food distribution let out a terrified shriek. Their extraordinary effort earned each of them a massive bowl of dango, filled to the brim. When the prison's monthly food supply was depleted, the vice warden Ippo man became furious. The prison's philosophy was to work the prisoners hard while keeping them hungry, so who had consumed so much dango? When Luffy and Kid were summoned, other prisoners were amazed. No one had ever eaten their fill before. The vice warden prepared to punish them, particularly angering Luffy when he stepped on Hyogoro. However, when the Ippo man attempted to swallow them whole, he found himself on the receiving end of their combined strength, emerging battered and bloodied while Luffy and Kid walked away triumphantly. The next day, Hyogoro came to thank Luffy, who dismissed it as nothing while sharing his meal tickets. This act of kindness earned Hyogoro's respect and would later lead to Luffy learning Ryuo, the secret technique capable of harming Kaido. Meanwhile, Raizo infiltrated the quarry seeking the Sea Stone Key, but found security too tight to succeed immediately. Caribou, observing Luffy's newfound status as the quarry's wealthiest prisoner, persistently begged for meal tickets. Despite Luffy's disgust, Caribou clung to him, hoping to join any potential escape attempt. One night, when Luffy woke hungry and sought Kid for extra dango, he discovered Kid had already escaped. Unfazed, Luffy continued his daily routine, viewing the hard labor as training to become stronger for his eventual rematch with Kaido. His habit of sharing meal tickets with Hyogoro attracted the attention of the Scorpion Guard, who brutally beat the old man trying to force him to reveal his benefactor. Despite severe injuries, Hyogoro refused to betray Luffy, explaining that while Wano once had many honorable people like him, Orochi's forces had eliminated them all. Queen's arrival at the quarry changed the dynamic. After Luffy and Hyogoro were captured attempting escape, Queen offered them a choice: join Kaido or die. Their refusal led to a sumo death match where they were fitted with collars that would decapitate them if they left the ring. Once Luffy's sea stone cuffs were removed for fairness, he easily dispatched the first wave of opponents with Conqueror's Haki, and defeated the Gifters with Observation Haki and Gear Second. Though Luffy's physical abilities had improved significantly from training while wearing sea stone cuffs, he knew it wasn't enough to defeat Kaido. Remembering Rayleigh's mention of a Haki technique that could damage opponents without contact, he struggled to master it. Hyogoro recognized Luffy's challenge, explaining that Wano's native equivalent to Haki was called Ryuo. Hyogoro stepped forward against the approaching Gifters, finally revealing his true identity as the legendary master of Wano. His attack demonstrated the purple Ryuo, creating a ripple effect that struck his opponent without physical contact, identical to Rayleigh's technique. The sumo hell matches continued until sunset, with Luffy and Hyogoro dominating their opponents, though Luffy was still mastering Ryuo. When Raizo obtained the Sea Stone Key, he found it unnecessary, as Queen had already removed Luffy's cuffs. Instead, he partnered with Caribou, who curried favor with Luffy by bringing sweet red bean soup. The next day's matches escalated when Queen brought in the captured Kid and Killer, submerging them in water and threatening their lives unless Luffy and Hyogoro died. The situation further complicated with Big Mom's dramatic entrance, leading to a chaotic battle over red bean soup. When Luffy praised the soup's taste, Big Mom's rage turned toward him. As she drove them to the ring's edge, Luffy managed to destroy their collars with newly acquired Ryuo, saving their lives. Hyogoro then explained how Ryuo could penetrate Kaido's scales by attacking from within. After Queen knocked out Big Mom and left for Onigashima, chaos erupted in Udon when the guards unleashed Queen's playgrounds, turning infected prisoners into zombies. Luffy confronted the enslaved prisoners, becoming infected himself while delivering an impassioned speech about Wano's warrior spirit. Though initially successful in rallying the prisoners, their support wavered upon learning Luffy was a pirate. As Chopper worked on a cure, Momonosuke stepped forward as a symbol of hope. His appearance and rousing speech, combined with the prisoners' enduring loyalty to the Kozuki clan, finally united them under Luffy's banner. With Tama's Dango converting the Gifters and Hyogoro rallying 4 other bosses, they successfully took control of Udon 8 days before the final battle. The assault on Onigashima began with Luffy, Kid, and Law's forces breaking through the Beast Pirates' naval blockade. Once there, various battles erupted across the island. Sanji, wearing the raid suit, rescued Momonosuke and battled Page 1, demonstrating the suit's durability against the ancient Zoan's attacks. He then faced Black Maria's web trap before confronting Queen, ultimately awakening his genetic enhancements and defeating Queen even after destroying his raid suit. Unlike Sanji's scattered support role, Zoro focused on reaching the dome where Luffy faced both Kaido and Big Mom, There, he saved Luffy by taking the full brunt of the Emperor's combined attack with his own body. Even wounded, Zoro managed to strike Kaido with his nine-sword-style Asura technique, reopening Kaido's old chest wound and revealing his own Conqueror's Haki. After brief recovery and enhanced by medicine, Zoro challenged King, who possessed incredible defense as a Lunarian and ancient Zoan user. While fighting King, Zoro also struggled with Enma's tendency to drain his Haki, eventually mastering it through his awakened Conqueror's Haki. Meanwhile, Kid and Law separated Big Mom from Kaido and, through their awakened Devil Fruit powers, managed to defeat her. Throughout the castle, the Straw Hats engaged in their own battles. Usopp and Nami faced Page 1 and Ulti until Big Mom's intervention helped Tama, with Nami claiming Zeus in the process. Chopper proved invaluable by both creating an antidote to Queen's Plague and holding off both Queen and Perospero until Sanji's arrival, earning him MVP status despite his low bounty. Frankie easily defeated Sasaki using General Frankie's superior firepower, while Robin and Brook overcame Black Maria through their combined abilities. Jinbei's fight with Who's Who revealed interesting historical details about the sun god Nika, though Jinbei quickly ended the fight with his fishman karate when Who's Who touched on sensitive topics about slavery. The battle culminated in Luffy's confrontation with Kaido, where he demonstrated his mastered Ryuo, enhanced by Conqueror's Haki coding learned during the fight. When this proved insufficient, Luffy awakened his Devil Fruit into the Nika form, granting him seemingly limitless creative freedom with his rubber powers, even affecting lightning itself. The final clash between Luffy's massive Monkey God Gun and Kaido's Flame Dragon ended with Kaido's defeat, finally freeing Wano from 20 years of darkness. The victory marked not just the end of a battle, but the dawn of a new era for Wano Country.